Hello and welcome to Namaste Today Live. I'm your host, psychic astrologer Christopher Witecki, here to be your cosmic guide to personal ascension, self-realization, and the power of manifestation. We are currently streaming live right now on many channels. This is a supercast: YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X.com, formerly known as Twitter. If you're in our super chat, which is combined with all peoples everywhere, please say hello to us and tell us where you are streaming from. Hello in Yuba City, Jill Fair. Hello, Michelle Bell. Always nice to see you. You're a super friend. San Luis Obispo. I can never say that in California, but hello, Rita. Hello, Sydney. So nice to see you from Atlanta. Hello, Sandra. Hello, Blue Star, waving back at you. Hello, Carol. Hello, Cat Ryder. Lauri Ship in New Mexico. I didn't know you were so close. Neptune Girl, so good to see you. CC in Colorado. Oh, that's cool. Nice to see you too. We are having a great time here. And then we'll say hello to Arkansas. You know, I went to high school in Arkansas, to Unity Scout. It's going to be a great time, folks. Energetically, we are ready to blast off to a whole new, what I call rhythm energetically. We have a great show for you tonight. We'll be talking about in the astrology how Venus is sextiling Neptune this week, which will reveal any karmic discrepancies you may be experiencing in your life. Mars conjoins Pluto, causing a Black Rose Valentine's Day, and Mercury sextiles Chiron and the North Node, which is going to trigger a time to heal from a past life jackass event. And tonight on Astro Mingle, I am very excited to announce I have dreaming expert and author Lauri Loewenberg is here to talk about the mysteries of dreaming, astro connections, and discuss the elements of getting the most out of your dream and sleep life. But first, let's take a look at the week's moods and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is from Saturday, February 10th to Friday, February 16th, 2024. Looking ahead first at the weekend forecast, it's going to be an expansive weekend. You're going to expand into new potential, but then something far out may happen on Sunday. Let's drill down. On Saturday, it's sunny and beaming. Step 21 means that Jupiter rules the day, so you're going to feel inspired to expand your life into a new rhythm. You're going to be ready to bet on yourself. And with Mercury squaring Jupiter, you're going to know what you are worth. The moon starts in Aquarius, still from the new moon, and then shifts into Pisces, where you may question your own karma. On Sunday, it's cloudy and far out. Step 22 means Uranus rules the day. This is the final Grandmaster day of the Aquarius season. You will expect the unexpected, as you are going to be in between dimensions and may experience a timeline shift. With the moon in Pisces, that timeline shift will probably be tied to an old karmic era finally ending. Moving ahead to the 5-day weekday forecast, over the course of this week, you will be launching your new rhythm and finding that you belong in a future you may not have imagined. On Monday, it's sunny and clarifying. Step 23 means Mercury rules the day. This will be a crisp and intellectual day. You will see a new perspective on your life, and you'll also refine your spiritual vision. The moon will shift from Pisces into Aries, so by the second part of the day, you may be feeling a little aggro. On Tuesday, it's sunny and forgiving. Step 24 means Venus rules the day. This is an easygoing, creative, resting, and receiving day. You are accepting the new rhythm of life and the new reality you are adopting. You are realizing your old ego is now dying. And with Venus sextiling Neptune, you are coordinating business deals with karmic destiny. On Wednesday, it's sunny and celebrating. Step 25 means that Neptune rules the day. You are aligning your spiritual calling with your rhythm and your future plans. You could also say this is the birth of the new winged ego. And with Mars conjoining Pluto, some old ego on Valentine's Day will die. It may be a tense date night. On Thursday, it's sunny and sensational. Step 26 means that Saturn rules this day. This will be the most serious day of the week, but you will walk away feeling completed as you will now commit to a brighter future. You are banking on your self-esteem. And with Mercury sextiling the North Node in Chiron, you are feeling healed and ready to proceed on a new adventure. The moon in Taurus means that you will feel a new life starting to manifest now. And then on Friday, it's sunny and invested. Step 27 means that Mars is ruling the day. This is the day where you will act out and live the new rhythm in motion. You'll see your life shifting to light speed. Venus enters into Aquarius, so things may feel a little strange. And Mercury squares Aquarius, which means your mind must now reconcile your earning potential.
It's serious joy, joy, joy.
If you're watching on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe to our YouTube channel, Serious Joy TV. Hit the bell button so you're notified, and please like this program on YouTube so the YouTube algorithm will suggest us to other people who are astrology fans. Namaste Today Live is sponsored officially by SeriousJoy.cloud. We are now allowing people to purchase content from Serious Joy in an a la carte fashion. That is our Mega Monthly Report specifically and our Golden Mega Address. And right now we're offering a special for the first 200 people that show up. We'll give you 33% off your entire download, which is great. So we really want to get everyone to get a chance. If you've never heard of Megascope before, take advantage of this little offer and save 33%. Also, pay attention to what's going on this month. You don't want to be left behind. I get very deep for all 12 signs, and I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback. But we're also, of course, sponsored by Serious Joy. And we're really excited. We have coming up on February 19th, the 40 Days of Past Lives and Karma is starting on the 19th. This is going to be a profound program. It's dosed out in little doses over 40 days. There will be daily past life journal prompts. There'll be chart explorations of your own chart, and I'll be revealing my own personal formulas for how to see a past life in an astrological chart. There'll be ciphers included, so you can actually decode your past life symbolism in your chart. There'll be past life and karmic metaphysical features with Robbie Hunt. There's an angel connection series where Devin's going to help you identify and connect to your angel. We have dodecahedron activation with Kristen Ryder, sacred geometry, activating and integrating all of your past lives, and a karmic release lunar ceremony, 3 of them, with Joe Zammit. So this is a huge compound program. So many people tell me that they want to know more about their past lives. We're going to give you the tools to find out on your own. It's never been a more important time than that Pluto is in Aquarius. I'll have some more details about SeriousJoy.com at the end of the show. So without further ado, let's move on to our weekly planets and transits. And as you can see from all of our graphics here this week, that we are flying into a new reality energetically. I've been feeling some amazing shift going on. I'm not sure about you. I interpreted the Aquarius season to be a bit far out and psychedelic, but I am actually having myself some real profound shifts in my energy. And one of the things I've noticed is there's just things I don't care about. Aquarius has this power of being able to detach. And it's funny, I use that energy, of course, to not allow things to annoy me, but I'm really kind of impressed as I notice that certain things that used to trigger me, certain issues and questions I had about myself, I'm suddenly just detached from. It just is a nothing burger to me. And that's really the first evidence I've seen of my own ascension and elevation so far. I had a couple of tests, I'll have to say, in the last couple of weeks where I got triggered by something or worried. It was an old kind of stress case, but my mind quickly said, nope, let's raise that vibration to a higher frequency. And so I did it. I followed my own advice. What a concept. And I popped out of it. I've noticed, and I really feel it's Pluto in Aquarius that is giving us the tools to draw these boundaries. It really makes a profound, I can really feel Pluto in Aquarius. When Pluto was in Capricorn for the last 15 years, I just felt this nagging pressure on my back all the time. Like I wasn't doing enough. And you know what it probably was I wasn't using Pluto to cut away from responsibility. Instead, Pluto multiplied the feeling of responsibility. But now that Pluto's in Aquarius, I feel so much lighter. I feel more free. I'm wondering how you all are feeling. Tell me in the comments below this show or in the live chat if you are feeling better and lighter in Aquarius. This week, we are moving to more of the community aspects of Aquarius, which is that we're in the step 20s and above. I'll be talking about this. But what I want to actually talk about as far as our little intro discussion, as we always have, has to do with belonging. This third decan of Aquarius is our belonging. Now, belonging is the heart's longing. So, my go-to example for this is like if you're a little kid and you're watching TV and you see a movie about a lawyer, or you see a movie about, someone performing on stage, or you see something on TV of a person doing something, and your heart just knows that you belong there, that you want to be in that person's shoes, you want to be doing the same thing that person is doing. That sense of longing, the heart longing, is really the essence of Aquarius energy. Leo is the longing. Aquarius is where it belongs, where that longing belongs. And that's the spectrum of Leo to Aquarius. Now, due to the step system in all opposite signs, one of the things that I've discovered is which step or which sign comes before the other. So, for instance, Leo is step one. Okay, so let's do this side. So we're kind of left to right. Leo is step one, and belonging or Aquarius is step four. So that tells me that we always go from Leo love to where we belong. And you can use the same example with all of the opposite signs. For instance, Cancer is step two, so you feel something, and then step eight, you decide. So the steps gave me an understanding of what is priority as far as which one should apply first in any opposition. Well, that said, we're now in Aquarius with Leo opposing, which means that the energy and the focus of where we belong comes from what we long for and comes from where our heart feels that we belong. In this third decan of Aquarius, I believe we're going to be setting some high standards for where we belong, sort of like my example I just gave you when you're a little kid and you're watching superheroes on TV, or you're watching stuff that you wish you could be. In a way, I believe the population is going to be wishing upon a star, so to speak, as to where you belong in the future. I think we're going to identify, I call this shooting for the stars. I'll talk about it in a minute. We're going to identify where does we belong. Now, this brings me to tonight's conversation. I have been hearing from so many people, especially in readings. I have what I call a Diamond A Club now, where I have some VIP coaching I do with people. So we're getting really deep on what they're manifesting. By the way, I have another Trailblazer webinar tomorrow at senseichristopher.com. I forgot to mention that. I'll bring it up at the end of the show, where I'm coaching on how to manifest. And one of the big themes that's coming up over and over and over again is that so many people don't feel that they are around the people they belong with. Like they can't find their tribe. I hear this all the time in our community. I can't find my tribe. I'm the only one in the middle of Missouri that believes in this stuff. I'm the only one in Alabama. I can't open my mouth. It's a Bible Belt. I don't know any friends or family that is on the same wavelength. There's this craving for our community to come together right now in a very powerful way. And I can tell you at least 4 people that I know that are seriously trying to create alternative communities. I mean, sustainable from the ground up, a big plot of land in the middle of a state, which is a big deal, by the way. You're talking millions of dollars, really, if you're going to put in like toilets and plumbing and stuff. But again, for the purpose of creating these alternative communities. But a thought crossed my mind in all this, because many people are feeling like they need to be together. I mean, we are, by the way, Serious Joy is still working on our in-person event. We've had some blocks and things come up, so we're still navigating it, although the angels tell me it's going to happen. So stay tuned for that. So there will be some events for us to come together. But it came to me as I was meditating this last week that in many cases, the reason why you right now watching can't find your tribe is because you are the community. Think about that. You are the community. I believe many people that watch me, I think many people in the light work industry, I think many people who walk the light, that's what I call a light walker. You walk the light. You may not make money from it, but you walk the light. I believe that many of us are here to create community, that we are here to found community, that we're here to be the center of community. If you're the only one that knows in your sphere of influence of where the energetic planet is going, sure, you and I will get together once a year. You and I will get together once a week on TV. We'll connect. But if you're tied to where you live, maybe it's you that's to form this community. Maybe you are the hub that makes this happen. And it could also be perhaps your work, what you are focusing on manifesting is the call that will bring other people to the table. Now, I believe this is a powerful year. This is the year where it's what I call the launch of a lifetime. I talked about this in my countdown 2024, that I believe this is the year for most light workers. I've seen a couple charts that are delayed 1 year, but even then, that's because this whole year is pre-production for them. But every chart I have seen who is attracted to me for a reading has said the same thing. I get this oftentimes when I come up with these broad concepts of what's going to happen. It's almost always from my research of one-on-one readings that I have with people, my VIP readings I do with other practitioners, readings I do for friends and family. But one thing I have seen time and time again with all the light workers and the light walkers is that this is the year we launch. This is the year to launch what you are here to do. What I call the Golden Egg Project or the Diamond Egg Project. Those are different calibers, but still very intense. And I believe it is that launch of your product or your service, the launch of your dreams, whatever it happens to be, that I believe is going to be what creates the spiritual community you are craving, that you will have followers, you will have customers, you will have people that you work with. I believe it is up to us to create this spiritual community. I believe it's up to you with your profound work to create this spiritual community. And I believe we will all organize around these communities. But then I also believe, which is why I'm having the event in May, that we need to unite the light. So all these community leaders must also come together in a mega community, which I call unitethelight.love. I believe this is why, or one of the reasons why we're looking around and we're not seeing anyone else doing it, that we're not really finding, a place to go, a coffee house to go, we're not finding, clubs to go. Where do we find our kind? The answer is we create this community. It's time to co-create it. And I'm getting that this is the time. The other thing I want to talk about as well has to do with relationships, which also came up. I talked about this in many of my podcasts this week on SeriousJoy.com, my daily pep talks, which is relationships. The other big theme I keep hearing from people when I talk to them in one-on-one readings is, where's my relationship? Will I ever find love? Will I ever find the one? It is my belief, and I have seen this in my own third eye. I am now experienced enough to know when I'm seeing a vision that's real, that we're going to have a huge renaissance of love, dating, and connections starting this June of 2024. It's tied to Jupiter Jupiter in Gemini, by the way, which, by the way, Happy New Year in Chinese astrology. Boy, I'm not very succinct tonight. Happy New Year in Chinese astrology. It is the year of the dragon, and the year of the dragon is really Jupiter in Gemini. And I believe in this year of dragon, this is the year where we are going to meet our fellow dragons. I believe, and looking at a lot of charts, it seems that there's a huge percentage of light walkers and light workers that focused on clearing their past lives and clearing their past life karma before they met the one that they were coming to partner with for the age of light. This was the plan all along. And I believe, having counseled thousands of people, that the thing that often interferes with a person's relationship is their own self-realization. It's usually their own karmic junk they bring to the table, and people end up projecting their karmic stuff onto other people. And as a result, they end up blaming the other person, and the relationship sort of goes sour because there was all this karmic baggage. Sometimes you have a relationship where both parties are self-aware, both parties know that they bring baggage to the table, they do timeouts, they go discuss it off in different places. There are relationships right now. So if you're in a very functional working relationship, I believe you're just going to find that you get closer and closer as we climb up on these energetic frequencies of Pluto and Aquarius. If you are alone and you seek to have someone, I really believe that the plan was to meet up at this time at the water cooler, to meet up at this time when the earth was ready for the biggest test it's ever had, and to partner up during that time. So ironically, when I look at the future, my guides are kind of funny. They exaggerate, so I don't want to scare anybody. Okay. I don't want to scare you. But the image they give me is couples kissing as bombs are falling. And that's a very dream-based image, which is interesting because we're going to talk to Lauri today about dream interpretation. Sometimes my guides speak in like cartoons. They speak in sort of like literal. They're also showing me the humor of it. It's always kind of ironic. But what they were showing me was that, the earth always works in balance. So when things start to get really difficult, which I do believe they will start to get really difficult, I'm talking on a social level, starting in September. Not difficult for the individual. I think difficult in the sense of, where is society going? Will we have freedom in our future? Will we be controlled by AI? Some of these really heavy, important questions for the new era really start to come to the surface. It feels right in the beginning of September. And I'm suspecting that that's probably due to the Democratic convention going on in August, just saying something is going to happen at that convention. I can feel that's going to sort of change the story. But from that point, from September to November, things get really intense and Pluto goes back into Capricorn. And what I'm getting at here is I'm showing my psychic eye is showing me that we're going to end up meeting people that are very important, really buddying up with people. Once Jupiter hits Gemini in June, it's like late May, but it really the rubber hits the road in June. And so by the time the heaviness starts, we will not be alone. We will not be alone. We will have our network. We'll have our light that has been united from our own event. We'll also have communities like this one, light workers coming together. And most importantly, most likely you will find, if your heart wants to, that Gemini match, that twin that you've always wanted to have in life. And from the most part too, when I've looked at lots of people's charts, it was a match made in heaven. So a lot of the matches that are happening, in this year, I think were made in heaven. In other words, it's one of your bucket lists that you're going to meet up with this person again. Another interesting theme, I could do a whole show on relationships, and I probably will, but another interesting theme I'm found is, again, looking at people's charts and whatnot. And I'm also a full psychic medium when I'm doing readings. So I'm shown all these things. I've gotten much clearer as I've cleared my own Chiron information. Is that many of the couples that are coming together have not been together since Atlantis and Lemuria. So I'm seeing a lot of people with destined soulmates that they haven't mated with in 26,000 years, or they haven't been able to hang out with since the last time we were in a high vibrational state. And I think part of that reason is, and I'm just theorizing here, is that ultimately we are at the same place we were at the fall of Atlantis. I don't know if you know about Atlantis, if you have memories of it, but ultimately what happened was we messed with technology like AI. We messed with genetics, like a lot of what modern medicine is starting to do. And we ended up screwing up people's bodies. We ended up making people deform from the genetic stuff. And we ended up basically sinking the island of Atlantis because the energy of the crystals basically eroded the land underneath Atlantis and it fell in the ocean for good. That was like the third time Atlantis had blown itself up, but that was the final time. So here we are again. Here we are again, where we're messing with genetics again. We're messing with weapons, energy direct at weapons, nuclear weapons. We're messing with weapons that could destroy the earth. And what I find very interesting is it looks like we're going to team up maybe for a reunion with some of those ancient friends we had in Lemuria, mermaids, and Atlantis, and in some cases couple up so that we can face this era that's upon us. So, it's an interesting time and it's very far out. And, if you are sitting here going, where the hell does he get this goofy stuff? Look, just follow my lead here as far as how you open up. These are things that are coming naturally in my third eye. I am starting to have a higher periscope, if you will, with Pluto at 0 degrees, just as I anticipated. I actually even had an experience, I'll just say right now, with Alicia Power, who was on a couple of weeks ago. We did a reading trade and I went somewhere else with her. I went somewhere else. And it's one of those things where don't take my word for it. Try on your own, explore on your own. Watch this shift. Is pretty cool. The last thing I'll put out too, and I talked about this last week, but I'm just going to underscore this. I do think that technology is going to be a huge savior to the new era, but I also feel that the technology will take two directions. There will be material-based technology, which is where we're looking as far as like Neuralink is concerned and tapping into the brainstem to connect our brain to the internet. There's definitely a few people who are going to try that. as I joked last week, I did that in another planet, one other lifetime, and I didn't really like it so much. And then there is the biological technology, which is the technology built into your soul. Your soul has the ability to change timelines, to change reality. Your soul has the ability to remote view. You have the ability to see in the future. You have the ability to see in past lives. This is not for just some special Sylvia Brown. Everyone has these sort of tools built into their system, and I believe that we're going to be discovering biological technology here in the coming years, and I think that sort of opens up right now. So, in my opinion, although comets are falling from the sky, it's exciting time to be alive. I think so, and I think we all came here for a reason. Just one last thing I'll tell you: there are a lot of people who are leaving the planet right now, and although it's sad, we shouldn't allow ourselves to be too brokenhearted about it, because what we're about to go through, as far as the ascension of our energy, it's so intense that it's really not for the faint-hearted. There's just some people who just don't want to go through it. There are some sort of bourgeois souls that just want to fly first class, die, and be reborn once it's all done, But one thing I am convinced of now, that I will say with solid confidence, is that there may be an Earth timeline where we blow ourselves up. There may be an Earth timeline where people all merge with the machine. There may be an Earth timeline where one central government takes over the population, but it won't be the timeline I'm on, because I'm learning how to switch timelines right now. And I believe that is for the people who choose to have a dystopia. So my newest and latest and greatest in what I believe is, you will have dystopia if you fear dystopia, because the fear will attract that timeline. And I believe you will have utopia if you feel utopia, because I believe the energy will attract that timeline. So that sort of premise of what timeline you end up on begins right here. And that's ultimately what the premise of this week is about. So let's dive into how we are actually shifting timelines this week. This week, we are covering from actually tomorrow, which is February 10th. Again, I'll have a trailblazing a webinar tomorrow if you guys want to dive into that at senseiChristopher.com. We go from tomorrow the 10th until Friday the 16th. This week is titled Shooting for the Stars. Shooting for the Stars. And when I say shooting for the stars, I really mean shooting for the star you really are. I'm speaking to the star that exists already in your heart. I'm speaking to you shining and you being that twinkling star. And this is what I was talking about, as far as you are the community, because you are the star. When you wake up and you become high vibration, you become a star. Just like our sun is a star. What happens when you start twinkling bright in the middle of nowhere, which is where you may feel right now? You're in the middle of nowhere somewhere, or maybe you're not in the middle of nowhere, but you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere because there's not many stars around you. When you start twinkling your heart into the universe, you'll find that certain people just start orbiting around you, which is exactly how this solar system works, which is exactly how this solar system was designed. That once you twinkle, you become the community, you become the star that you really are. So we are aiming for the stars this week, but we are the star we are aiming for, to be the star that we really are. And this star concept is the whole basis of serious joy, right? Because I believe that serious joy is, to me, a program designed to bring the star out who you are. So I've been on this star kick now for 8 years. The subplot of this week is calibrating my baseline. So this is the title track of the month, calibrating my baseline. As we decide to go for a higher frequency of our personal utopia, you spelled Y-O-U, by the way, I'm going to make up my own spelling, put a spell on it. As you go for your utopia, you are also at the same time going to have to raise the bottom. And that's what I call calibrating our baseline. We started calibrating our baseline this week as Mercury crossed Pluto on Monday. Don't know if y'all felt that energetically, but I felt a big shift in my thinking as of Monday. Suddenly, my mind was very skeptical, and then my mind suddenly was like snapped out of it. So I felt my mental thoughts rise to a new baseline. So then baseline is assume it will be fine. That's my new baseline of thinking. Just assume it'll be fine. And that's a higher vibration, because before I would look over, wonder if it's not going to be fine, worry about if something is going to, break apart and collapse, which is part of my karma and part of um, my own, what's the word I'm looking for? Traumas that I'm, been facing. So I've already seen the baseline of my thinking. On Valentine's Day, which I call the Black Rose Valentine's Day, we will raise the vibration and the baseline of our ego. And then this Saturday, which I'll report on again next Friday, but this Saturday will raise the frequency of what we open up to. So we are raising our baseline, which is we are basically setting the standard of how low we will go to a higher standard. In essence, that's what Pluto is doing. Pluto is cutting off how far we will fall. So you could say, this week you're going to calibrate. I'll never fall that far again. I'll never fall that far into depression or into skepticism. I'll never fall that far into jealousy, some of the negative energies of the ego, jealousy or envy or greed. These are all energies of Mars. I'll never fall into codependence or neediness or being too vulnerable or gullible, which are lower frequencies of Venus. So part of ascension, in fact, really most of these so far from what I've been seeing from a practicality, I thought ascension was, go within and just somehow vibrate on up. And what I'm realizing is ascension is throwing overboard all of the dead weight, throwing overboard all of the negative vibration. At least this part of ascension is, this is a 24-year transit with Pluto and Aquarius. I'll be on the air the entire time as a sort of spiritual sportscaster, talking about what I'm observing. But at this first stage, it is about throwing overboard the heaviness, the sadness, and after you throw it overboard, you then set the standard for your new bottom. This is how low I'll go. It used to be this low. Now I'm going this low. So a decluttering of your karma and your energy. The key question of the week is, what is my heart's greatest dream? What is my heart's greatest dream? This is the star. Your heart's greatest dream is who you really are. And I think we get lied to about our potential. Let me put it this way. What you believe is so important, okay, as far as what you can manifest. It's step 3. So if you have a corrupted belief structure, then step 4, step 5, step 6, step 7, step 8, step 9, all steps are corrupted after step 3. So you have to have a pure belief. But if you know what your heart's dream is and you believe that your dream can come true, it can. It's literally you believing it. And I don't care if you believe me, try it. Okay. Try it. We'll be doing this with our Trailblazer webinar tomorrow. We're going to be carrying a group of people from their belief all the way to their manifestation. And that's what I'm going to be doing this whole year with all of my clients. I'll be doing it week by week here also on Namaste Today for free. But it is time to go for your heart's greatest dream. And don't be concerned about having the money, having the resources, not knowing how to do it. All of that gets attracted to you as soon as you get really, and until you surrender and fall in love with that dream. So this is a week where you want to remind yourself over and over again, as you hit sort of obstacles or different barriers, that the focus is on what your greatest dream is. The focus should not be on any of the obstacles or the challenges you're having. Act like they don't exist. All right. So as we look at the week, let's take a look at the planets this week. The sun this week goes from step 21, which is going to be tomorrow. Oh, you know what? I forgot to say happy new moon to you. Boy, I'm a little dizzy tonight. We're actually just had a new moon at step 20 tonight. So, this whole program that I've come up with about what is my heart's greatest dream, shooting for the stars, etc. It has all been for the purpose that tonight is the new moon, and that it's time to charge our future with this passion for the new moon so we can bring the sun back, Sarah. So the steps, thank you. The steps this week go from step 21 to step 27. 21 is tomorrow, so the first day after the new moon. The new moon today holds the space for, okay, this is the emotional cradle that the boundaries of what I want to experience and what I want to manifest. These are my emotional boundaries that I will allow. And then tomorrow you start to run in that new emotional playground that you have set up energetically tonight. Tomorrow, you believe in it. On Sunday, step 22, you then take it to a higher level. So I believe that if your heart is dreaming really hard tonight, you explore your options tomorrow on Saturday. Sunday, I predict you will have your mind blown. Your mind will be blown. Let me just say this right now. Happy step birthday to Grandmaster Robbie Hunt. She's one of our masters on our team. She's a Grandmaster Step 22. We have a webcam on her. We are watching to see what happens when this energy hits her. But step 22 will be Sunday. Happy step birthday to Robbie. We also have a step birthday for Adam coming up at the end of this week too. Two of our staff members, two Aquas. But I do believe that on Sunday, in the 22 energy of Robbie, we're going to feel doors open up. We're going to feel something we couldn't see before. And that's one of the things I have been very interested in as I noticed Pluto moving through Aquarius is, as we've been in these lower frequencies, we haven't been able to see what's in the high frequencies. So I believe we turn a blind corner on Sunday. I believe we see something that simply could not be seen from the vantage point of our old energy. Then on Monday, we sort of frame up with this new discovery. We go, okay, well, if that's the case, then this is how I frame it up. This is what I believe. This is how I see it to be unfolding. Then on Tuesday, we open up and accept this, like, okay, I can do this. Yep. Okay, I can do this. It's a big vision, but I can do it. So you sort of hold on and accept on Tuesday that it's possible. On Wednesday, you go, God, can I do this? So you kind of check in with God. But at the same time, God says yes. God never says no. God only says not yet. But God will say yes to whatever this vision is you have. You wouldn't have it if you weren't here to do it. All right. That's also the day on Valentine's Day, which is Wednesday. That's also the day that Mars conjoins Pluto. And there's a mini ego death that happens on Wednesday. So what happens on Wednesday is you say, okay, I'm destined for this. And God says, then this part of you has to die. This ego that's holding on to regret, rage, codependence, jealousy, envy, competitiveness, because it's all one at the end of the day. That part of your ego will have to die. So Wednesday's a real eye-opener. As always, hump days, you've been with me for a while now. Hump days are always that day where we get over some energetic hump. You can't write this shift, but Wednesday's the day where we have a mini ego death and we surrender to our destiny. Thursday, step 26, net 8, you commit. You say, yes, this is it. I'm going to do this. Let's do this. So you'll probably have to sign a contract, or you'll probably have to put some money down. We probably make a deposit for something energetic like that. And then Friday, next week, when we come back, it'll be step 27, also the step birthday of our brother, Adam Turner, who works with us. It'll be that time too. But next Friday, you then basically shoot for the stars. That's when you go for it in your full energy. And then just to wrap up, to give you like an idea, then we hold space Saturday, then you're tested the following Sunday. And then Monday, the first day of Pisces, we begin the 40 days of past life and karma, because at that point, once you have aimed for the stars, you now change your spiritual destiny and you rid of the old timeline and you turn on the new timeline. So that is basically how it's going to work. Now, as we look at Mercury goes from 8 degrees to 18 degrees this week. And what that means is that the mind is thinking through you're basically getting your mind on the program. So notice the sun is way before the mind. When the sun is way before the mind, because Mercury is still catching up from its last retrograde, when the sun's in front of the mind, that means the heart is trailblazing all these new creative ideas, and the mind is catching up, trying to figure out, well, how do I do this? Well, how's that going to happen? Well, that means I can't think about this anymore. And that means I drop this sort of thing. So the mind is catching up pretty fast. We go from step 8 to step 18 this week, which means you go from committing to the vibe you have to be in life, in yourself, and then committing to the vibe you have to, your mental vibe. So you're basically committing to the attitude you have to adopt in order to pull off this star that you really are. So your mind has to be on board the program. And of course, Pluto here at step 0, holding the door open, okay, until step 3 of Pisces, holding the door open for unlimited possibilities of ascension. Really powerful. This is the only time in your entire life that the sun will be in Aquarius while Pluto is holding the door open at step 0. This is the only time. It'll never happen again. Pluto will not retrograde back to zero. And last year when Pluto was in zero, the sun was in Pisces. The sun was not in Aquarius, so it didn't happen then. Fascinating times. Now, moving on to antiquated Capricorn. And I say antiquated not because of the Capricorn signs, but because that's what we are working through, the old system versus the new system. We do have Mars moving from step 27 Capricorn all the way to 2 Aquarius by the end of the week. So Mars actually moves into Aquarius on Valentine's Day. That's why I call it the Black Rose Valentine's Day. The ego will have a death on Wednesday. That death looks many different ways, but it probably is you giving up some sort of fight or conflict. All right. You frankly cannot ascend if you're busy telling people off on Twitter. You cannot ascend if you're fighting with someone. You cannot ascend if you are struggling in sort of a situation instead of surrendering to what the opportunities are. So likely the death of the ego and the birth of a new ego, which is what happens this week, will likely come from quite simply letting go of some struggle that you realize you don't have to keep struggling with. It was a habit, probably a habit that came from the fact that you had spiritual karma that you were born with. And so as a result, you felt like you had to fight. I remember, in my learning phase that I was mistaking ego for strength. I thought I was being strong. I didn't think I was being arrogant or egotistical. It had to be pointed out to me because my heart was in the right place. I wanted great things for everybody. I didn't feel competitive, but a few people had pointed out, like, you're really being arrogant about this. And inside it felt like strength. So I think a lot of times ego is masked as strength when really it's just power for power's sake. And Mars is the tool that we use for power's sake. So we are, in essence, elevating out of some ego issues where it's all about power for power's sake. Now, Venus, Mars's best mate, is going from 22 Capricorn to 29 Capricorn. She will cross over Pluto and be reborn next Saturn Day. So we'll talk about that again next week. But this means that you have to now, Mars has sort of cut the cords and cut the crap of the power for power's sake. And Venus is right behind him saying it's time to open up to power for heart's sake, power for love's sake. Or you could say, as my grandma would say, for God's sake. So opening up for power for God's sake. Open up to the power for God's sake, for God's sake. So Venus, so what that means is, our openness and our determination, which is what Mars and Venus is, our openness and our determination this is the last week where you are sort of being pulled on by the past, being tempted to go to over control or overdo it, being tempted to fall for the old power games. And the good news is I really believe that, we talk about politics and world politics and whatnot. People are choosing the team right here. This is the team right here. This is the team. You're either on power for power's sake or power for heart's sake. That's it. Those are the two options. Or you could say fear-based motives or love-based motives. Fear-based, love-based. This is your option this week. By the time we get to the national elections in November here in the United States for president, you made your choice in February what team you're on. Can you switch teams? Sure. But, and I think many will. So I'm not saying you're going to be out of time, but I am saying that you will have missed so many months of building a foundation in the right foundation, because this is a master builder year of manifestation with Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus and conjoining in May. This is a master year of teaming up with Jupiter going into Gemini. So you want to get your power base down this week. Now, looking at the emotions of the week, it is the moon in Aquarius right now. It's a new moon in Aquarius. Happy new moon to everyone. These 20-degree new moons are a little moody. I do find that they have a little bit of a temper tantrums that comes out and crankiness. I woke up feeling cranky today and grouchy and had to sort of push myself. And I realized, that's my emotional vibration. That's not the emotional vibration I want in the future. So I corrected that shift. But I did take a lot of coffee and good music to get there. Then the moon goes into Pisces on Sunday. So it'll be in Aquarius tomorrow on Saturday. So tomorrow we're all futuring. Okay. And writing our thoughtware. That's what I'm calling now. That's my new term that I came up with, is thoughtware, which is the software of our mind. Then the moon goes into Pisces on Sunday and Monday. And that will be really where we process the karma. So remember, what's happening is you realize on Sunday at step 22, holy shift. Oh my God, it's full of stars, to quote 2001. We're going to realize something I think really compelling on Sunday. Might be a very quiet realization, by the way. It may not be a UFO landing on the White House lawn, but it will be something that I think opens your eyes. So then the moon in Pisces on Sunday and Monday is like, wow, this is crazy. My life is changing. My fate is changing. My karma is changing. What's possible is changing. So we realize that we have grown spiritually on Sunday and Monday. There's a lot of spiritual growth that happens. Then we basically birth the new egos on basically the moon goes into Aries on late Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And remember, the old ego dies on Wednesday. So really Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as you are aiming and visualizing what you want on Monday, accepting what you want on Tuesday, praying to God on Wednesday, while that's all happening, you're realizing with the moon in Aries that your behavior has to change. You're realizing that your responses have to change. You're basically realizing that you're dressed for the old Wild West and you need a costume for the Jetsons. Like, you're going to realize that your ego is just wearing the wrong threads. And so I think, so I believe with the moon in Aries, I feel the moon in Aries Monday, Tuesday, and all of Wednesday is a lot of eating crow. There's a lot of swallowing of pride. There's a lot of putting down the ego. That's the hardest part of being a light worker or a light walker is that you have to put your ego in check. I don't think we get rid of our ego, but our ego has to be on the right side of alignment, which means we have to abandon some of these old ego pride conflicts that we do. And a lot of us got into conflicts so that we could feel strong. Then we have on Thursday, we have the moon move into Taurus on Thursday and on Friday. So Thursday when we commit, Friday when we launch, we are manifesting with the earth in Taurus, that truth. Of course, the moon will cross over Jupiter. So we're going to feel that we believe it, that we deserve it. The moon will cross over Uranus. So we're going to feel like, let's do this already. So I think it's a very powerful and passionate week. Okay. So that said, let's move on to Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith this week goes from step 14 to step 15. She represents our fears. And basically, we're facing fears in the mind. So we have to work out corrupt thoughtware and get our corrupt thoughtware out of our system. And then we have to face the fears of deserving it or being able to accept a new reality. So basically, we're facing fears over the realization of how our life is going to change. You're going to realize your life is changing. And it's funny, misery loves company. Sometimes people like to hold on to the past. In the state of Pisces, Saturn this week moves from step 7 to step 8. This is huge because Saturn at step 7 was it coming out of shadow from when it retrograded. Now it's step 8. That's a grandmaster step for Saturn. So you end up committing now to your new karmic self or committing to your new karmic relationship with yourself on this week. And Saturn shifts on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, when you are accepting basically the new star that you are, that's the same day that you're committing to ending the dark star that you were, or whatever you were, or the shadow, or the sunspot, whatever metaphor you want to use there. So I think we feel a real spiritual maturing that happens this week, come around Tuesday, once we commit on the inside that yes, we're living this new story. And Neptune is now at step 26, which means we are committing. And we do have at least one Neptune. We have Venus sextile Neptune on Tuesday. I'll talk about that. But Venus is going to commit to the strategy in the business, and you're going to align that strategy with the karma and the destiny. So in essence, we are pretty much setting our destiny with Saturn hitting 8 and Neptune hitting 26 net 8. 8's our commitment. So we are committed with ourself karmically with Saturn, and we're committed with the universe and the rest of the earth with Neptune. This is the timeline shift right here. These spiritual commitments, these pre-manifest commitments, that's the timeline shift that's going to happen. Now, in the world of manifestation, which is Taurus, Jupiter this week goes from step 8 to step 9. That's very exciting. I'm super excited. It means it's finally moving into a new house for me. I have a 9-degree rising, so Jupiter moves into a new house for me. It does mean that you have been committed to what you are worth, and Jupiter going to 9, which happens on hump day. So the day you pray and the day your ego dies, your new self-worth goes into motion. How's that for timing? So the day your ego dies, the old ego dies, the day you pray and say, God, take me, this is the way I want to go. This is the way I want to ascend. This is the star I really am. At that point, Jupiter goes, let's spend some money. So Jupiter moves into gear. Jupiter at 9 is a lot of fast things. So once Jupiter hits 9 on Wednesday, come Thursday, law of attraction is in action in an amazing way. When Jupiter's at 9 degrees, all this stuff just falls into your lap, just starts falling into your lap. And this would be stuff that is, it's been waiting for this moment to act on these beliefs. When Jupiter hits 9, it means you're putting your beliefs into action. It means you're practicing what you preach, basically. So it'll be time to practice what you preach, and you will be moving like lightning, I believe, at that point. And you'll see a lot of, I would say, expect interesting miracles, what appear to be miracles, come Thursday and Friday with this commitment. It's going to be very quick turnaround. Uranus still at 19 degrees, but 19 is a grandmaster degree of Taurus. And so that means as you act on this self-worth here, you raise the capability of what you can attract. And I do believe, by the way, that spirituality does not mean poverty. Okay. I believe spirituality does not mean poverty. I believe that you can be richer by not being greedy than you can by being greedy. I believe it's backwards to what we've taught. I believe being humble and not greedy brings greater abundance. But we are at a point now where we're ready to draw in that abundance with the Taurus energy. And then finally, in the age of Aries energy, Chiron stationed at 16 degrees. That means we are healing. And the North Node moves from 17 to 16. So the North Node is now beginning to conjunct Chiron. This conjunction will take a full week to come to apex. It'll apex on Monday, the 19th. But this is the healing of a past jackass moment. This would be a jackass moment that happened in this life, but that is an echo of when you were a total jackass in a past life. Okay. We all have jackass moments, just so you know. Gen X has the most jackass moments in past lives, which is why they've been quiet and hiding, afraid of being a jackass. As I've mentioned in many of my talks, I believe Gen X will be in full power by next Monday, the 19th, healed and then activated with the solar eclipse at 19, which is going to happen on April 8th. So watch out. Gen X is an X factor in the elections and an X factor in the future that no one, frankly, was counting on because it just came out of nowhere. X is part of our generation, what we're here to do. So that is the planets and transits for the week. Let's look at the transits, actually. That was the planets. Now we must do the transits. I'm going to share a screen here. Let me just move around in this live show. Move windows around. Here we go. Share screen. Okay. So as I mentioned, I have a wonderful conversation with Lauri Loewenberg tonight, dream expert and author. I will just go ahead and tell you this was pre-recorded because some people go to bed on time. So this is a pre-recorded. I'll be in the chat room with y'all, watching it with you, eating popcorn with you. We had an amazing conversation. It is so deep and we go to so many different places. She's an Aries and just a total delight. Okay, so the first date I want to talk about is February 13th. This is Tuesday, February 13th. It's my grandma's birthday. I just want to say that. Hi, Grandma. This is the day when Venus will sextile Neptune at 26 degrees. So on Tuesday, when Venus sextiles Neptune at 26 net 8, this is right before Saturn goes to 8 the very next day, remember. This is when you basically coordinate your business plans with your spiritual plans. So business and spiritual plans are being coordinated. Mars, of course, is at step 0, but does not dead conjoin until the next day. Let's take a look at that. The next day, this is what I call Black Rose Valentine's Day. That is because Mars and Pluto conjoin at 0 degrees. Pluto at 0 is a death degree. This is the death of the ego that you used for survival. It is clearing the way for the birth of a new ego that will be used for thrival. So getting rid of the survival, replacing it with the thrival. Of course, we're now Saturn in 8. We're now committed to our spiritual path at this very same moment. Look at the synergy of the coordination of the planets. It blows me away. You mean to tell me at the very moment our ego dies, we commit to a new spiritual karma with ourselves? Saturn goes straight to 8 at the same moment that Mars conjoins Pluto. Is that not crazy as far as the timing? The step system just tells you. And look at this, the North Node conjoining Chiron. They come to full conjunction, like I said, next Monday. But this is the healing of a jackass moment. So I heal a jackass moment. I find a new destiny, that I'm feeling as far as my vibration. My old ego is dying. I'm seeing my life in a whole new context with Mercury at 14. Pretty amazing, all on hump day, which is Valentine's Day. So even in the best relationships, people won't be paying attention to the dinner. All right. On February 15th, which is Thursday, this is where Mercury sextiles Chiron. So remember, we have this theme of healing a jackass moment. So Mercury basically is actually sextiling Chiron, coordinating, seeing the vibration of life with this jackass out of the way. So this is like basically, this is you saying, I'm not going to be afraid of falling off the bike again. I'm not going to be afraid of falling off the wagon. I'm not going to be afraid of wrecking my life like I've always been afraid my whole life. I'm going to think in a vibration. I'm going to assume it won't happen. That is so huge because the possibility of it happening creates the possibility of it happening. So when you decide, no, I'm not that jackass and I'm not going to think like I am anymore either, you really clear the palette for great manifestation. Later on that day, Mercury then sextiles the nodes, which basically says, okay, and now let's head in a new direction that reflects this freedom from the jackass moment. Then the next day, on Friday, we have Venus enters into Aquarius. So Venus comes into Aquarius, and I'm going to go ahead and skip to Saturday where Venus conjoins Aquarius. Of course, this is going to be in next week's broadcast, but Venus conjoining Pluto would then be the birth of the new era. That would also be raising the baseline of love to a new level. By the way, this is the last step before drawing in partnership. For all you lonely hearts out there that are worried about finding your mate, it's after Venus levels up. This is all women leveling up, by the way, gentlemen. It just costs you a lot more. All female energy. I shouldn't even narrow it to women. It's all feminine energy because feminine energy is coming in all sorts of types these days, but all feminine energy now taken to the next level. But the men are ahead of you. They already had a rebirth 3 days earlier. Just saying. So with that, I think it's now time to talk about how this is going to affect you personally. Go steep yourself some tea, my friend, and let's have our weekly tea time. Hola, welcome, my friend. So nice to be here. So nice to have everyone here. Just seeing people in the chat. Thank you very much, Michelle. I am having a great time. It's a great time. Yes, it's a great time to be alive. I'm so excited, personally. And in our horoscopes today, we're going to be talking about how, we'll talk about basically 4 things. Just go into detail about it. 1, what does Mars conjoining Pluto mean for you? Where are you having an ego rebirth? Where must you let go of lower ego vibration energy? So we'll talk about that first, which again happens on Wednesday, that conjunction. But I think you feel that conjunction play out really from Monday on. As soon as Mars goes into Aquarius, you start to realize that certain behavior with yourself is going to have to die. It's going to have to go. We're going to have to let go of it, right? Then we're going to talk about, okay, where am I shooting for the stars? Where am I going to launch my stardom? And by the way, this is where people will launch stardom. It's kind of interesting. I talked about this last week about how all the 12 signs all have a different assignment for ascension, right? So Aries' sign for ascension is in the public. Aries will change the public. Pisces will change our relationship to God. That's their soul assignment for ascension. Aquariuses are showing us that we have to behave differently. So all the 12 signs have an area where by you being a star, everyone copies and orbits around you. And that's how humanity shifts into the new era. From you are the star that changes into the new era. You are the center of the new era community. So we'll talk about where that plays out for each of the 12 signs. We'll also talk about Venus in Capricorn and how it is wrapping up and how it's going to sextile with Neptune. And what that means is, and that happens again on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, Venus sextiles Neptune. Venus is in Capricorn. Neptune's obviously in Pisces. They're at 26 degrees. So that's really where you align your earthly business with your godly business. And that's another indicator of the new era birthing on the horizon, that we are aligning our earthly business with our godly business. When I grew up, godly business only happened one day of the week, Sunday. That's it. That was the only day you thought about God, was Sunday. That was the way it was growing up. Of course, I grew up Catholic and Buddhist. So Buddhism kind of hit the house all week. And then Catholic was on Sundays. But, being a true Catholic, as soon as we walked out of that church, we forgot about church till the next week. So anyways, we are aligning now our earthly business with our spiritual business. Now, as always, I'll put here to the side which of the signs I am talking about right about here. And I do recommend you listen to your sun sign first. So in order of creation, it's the sun sign first. The sun sign is step 1. The rising sign is actually step 12, if you want to know in the step signs. So step 12 is the rising. So you want to do your sun sign first and your rising sign second. And if you want to listen to your moon sign, I'm getting really strong affirmations from people that it really does describe how you feel during the week. So remember also, we release our horoscopes again as mini cutouts on Tuesday. And I highly recommend you come back and check on Tuesday, because what's going to happen between now and Tuesday is so powerful. You're going to forget what this week's horoscope was by the time Tuesday hits. All right. Starting with the Aries. Aries are calibrating their inner friendship. And so what's dying off is your ego treats yourself poorly somewhere. You throw yourself under the bus. You abandon yourself to go be a hero. You push yourself too hard. You make yourself do too much. Like somewhere you are a bully on your own shoulders. You're a bully to yourself somewhere. Or you're not a bully, you're lazy, and you're not speaking up for yourself or acting on your own behalf. But whatever that ego character was, that part of your ego needs to die on Wednesday, on Valentine's Day. So kiss that ego goodbye on Valentine's Day, the one that treated you poorly in public. And that's the thing. It's how you treat yourself in public. That's a big part. So how you treat yourself when you're with others, how you treat yourself, when you're out in the world, how you treat yourself when you're at work, etc. Now, where you are shooting for the stars is your social reputation. I'm calling Aries the trailblazers of the new era. I believe they're going to be the one that trailblazes and moves forward into a new potential. I think you're going to show us how it's done. So ironically, it's not so ironically, Aries were, I always talk about this, in the age of Aries, you were brutal. In the age of Pisces, you were heroes. And now, being the ones that have been causing the shitstorm for a long time, now you're the ones that can tell us to all live in peace. So it's very interesting. With Venus sextiling Neptune, the Arieses are going to have to coordinate their career and legacy goals with what they have faith in. All right. And this does mean that you should include faith. You should include spirituality. You should absolutely pray before you make a business decision. You should absolutely make business decisions based on your own faith and based on your own karma. And it's now time to make sure that career and faith are working side by side, that they are two board members of your board of directors. One is your faith and one is your leadership. They should be on the same board of directors. So you have to coordinate and make sure that where your career is headed is in alignment with where your soul is headed. And that, of course, happens on Tuesday. All right. I'm taking a little sip here, keeping our voice alive. On to the Tauruses, the master builders of the new era. Taurus, where your ego has to die, is around self-governance, okay? Also known as self-discipline, also known as I said self-discipline. I don't know, maybe I went blank there. Self-criticism, that's what I was going for, where you can be too critical on yourself. So your ego either pushes yourself too hard, doesn't push yourself enough. Okay. It seems like every Taurus video I see on the internet makes fun of us for eating. Like that's all we do is sit in the kitchen and eat and watch Netflix. It's like, no, we build the earth. We get things done. But some of us don't give ourselves enough break. We put too much on our own shoulders. Our ego makes us work so that when it comes time to balance, we go too far in the indulgence and too far in the balance. So the old ego that used to push you for success, for career success, obviously it's not working if you're not happy with where you are. Obviously, this way of self-motivation is not working if you're not where you want to be. Okay. So the way you push yourself is not working. It's probably based on whatever your karma is. It's time for a new ego to be birthed and how you are disciplined and how you act. All right. Now, where you are going to be a star and shoot for the star is your legacy and your life goals. So career is where Tauruses are going to change the world. Tauruses will bring and manifest the new era. They will build the houses. They will build the technology. We are builders. We'll build Legos. You are here to build the new era. You are here to make it happen, build the new economy, build the new currencies. Tauruses are the master builders. And it's now time to become a star in your career and legacy. And by the way, your career could be raising 3 great kids. Your career could be a simple farmer that does it organically. So you don't think build or don't think big, rather think quality, not quantity, as far as your master building. The higher the quality, the higher the vibe it will be. Now, the sextile between Venus and Capricorn and Neptune for Tauruses is your life purpose has to be coordinated with your social reputation and your community. So you must integrate all of your plans for your purpose with your relationship to society. Now, you're probably already doing this, at least I am. So this might not be a huge, this might be a nothing burger with this alignment. This might just be you seeing a couple hairs out of place. It may be that you realize some of your purpose is not necessarily based on your new faith. It's based on your old spiritual fear. So there might be some kinks that are worked out, but I think for the most part, Tauruses already align their purpose with their faith and their purpose with a place in the world because they're master builders. Geminis. Geminis are now having to kill the ego that argues with themselves. Did you hear that? The ego that argues with yourself needs to die. You got to quit arguing with yourself. Now, maybe you call it debating. Maybe you call it research. I call it indecisive. Okay. But what it is that you go back and forth and you doubt what you believe. Your heart knows what you believe, and your ego will talk you out of it. Look for other evidence, be skeptical, worry about it not being true. Go look on the internet for tons and tons of evidence. So there's an ego in you that does not believe in yourself as a default. And that ego that doesn't believe in yourself as a default has got to die. That guy has got to die. And I don't care if you're a woman or a man or whatever pronoun may be, it's the guy in you, because we all have a guy and a feminine, Mars and Venus. The male part of you is the part of you, Gemini, that has been arguing with believing in yourself, and that's holding yourself back. That will just not do. Now, in the shooting for the stars, Geminis are going to be a star when it comes to meaning and purpose. Geminis are going to hold this space in the new era for what gives life real meaning. That means that the meaning of the new age is the understanding in our mind of the purpose that we are here for. So Geminis become the messengers of the new era. They become the teachers of the new era. And this means it's time for you to go for that weird idea that you've been afraid to bring up on Thanksgiving to the family table. It's time to bring that up now. It's time to do that. You are the mental gems of the new era. That's what I call you now, the mental gems. You have the brilliant ideas and you will be flushing them out. Now, with the sextile between Venus and Neptune, you are transforming your life now. You've got to change your boundaries, change how you live, change what you open up to, what you don't open up to, change sexual energy and who you connect with on a sexual level, maybe get intimate for the first time, maybe, change the vibration of who you connect to. And that has to be that transformation, that makeover that you're doing has to tie into your career and your legacy. So you have to make sure that all the changes you are making in your life will benefit your career and your legacy, will benefit you as a parent, will benefit your goals in life. So you must transform your boundaries to be 100% in alignment with your goals. Now you may say, of course, shouldn't my boundaries be in alignment with my goals? I bet you they're not. I bet you there's things that you refuse to do that are necessary for the success of your career. I bet you there are things you refuse to open up to that are necessary for the success of your legacy or you as a parent. So it's not so apparent, is it? Cancers. Cancers are the moonchild of the new era. And right now, you have an ego issue when it comes to trusting yourself. Your old ego, I've seen both kinds of cancers. I've seen cancers who trusted themselves and never looked both ways and just jumped right into traffic. So they trusted without regard. And I've seen cancers who don't trust themselves, who constantly ask permission for things and measure and remeasure before they do anything. There's some ego issue with cancers that makes them second guess whether or not it's trustworthy. Or it could also be second guessing about drawing the boundary, particularly drawing the boundary with themselves. So a lot of times when a Cancer can't say no to a partner, it's because they can't say no to themselves. Like, no, you're not going to make everybody happy. No, you can't save everyone's life. No, you can't be everything to everyone. So your inability to say no in the world is because you have an inability to say no to yourself. And that's the ego that needs to be reborn. That ego needs to die. The ego that cannot say no, or the ego that cannot say yes. Maybe you refuse to open up. Maybe you were damaged in childhood, but it's time to now move on and move to the next story. We're into a new era now. Now, Cancers are going to be known on the planet for life transformation. Cancers are going to change before our very eyes. And because they are the nurturers, they're going to help us with all of our boundaries. So Cancers sort of take on a Scorpio role in the new era. Cancers will and isn't that nice too? Because, Scorpios, I love you Scorpios, but you're pretty harsh when you say no. Cancers are really nice when they say no. Like they're like, no, here's a cupcake. It's okay. So you're going to help us to transform our life. You're going to make it easy for us to say no or say yes. But that, of course, is once you get over that hump and do it first. Now, with Venus at step 26, sextiling Neptune at step 26 Pisces, you must now get on the same page with your partnerships and your purpose. Partnerships and purpose must be on the same page. That means your husband must fully support your spirituality, fully. Okay. If your partnership is on the same page as your belief structure, it's not a partnership. It is I don't even know if it's a friendship. It's an association. It's an acquaintance. All right. So you must commit to a certain level of partnership that's in full alignment with what you believe. You can no longer be in a partnership. And this is where Cancer's ego got a little amok, where they're like, oh, I can heal him or I can heal her. I can fix them. And that, of course, was just part of the age of Pisces, the codependence of Pisces. But it's like, no, they're not on the same page with you to begin with. Why are you wasting your time? But I love them. We all love each other in heaven. Love is the base currency. It's not something special. It is the basis of all of life. You should love your neighbors too. You know what I mean? So it is time to align now your purpose with your partnerships. Leos, the love leaders or leaders of love of the new era. Leos are getting over an ego when it comes to their marriage. And I have a Leo rising, so I'm having a hard time seeing this. I actually think it has to do with the way I treat myself and how I push myself too hard sometimes, or how perhaps you aren't showing up for yourself. So letting yourself fall over because there's a there's a thorn in your paw and you just collapse and don't want to do anything about it. So Leos have ego issues with the way they treat themselves. They either show up for themselves or they overly beat their chest as being phenomenal when they're not really treating themselves that way, or they are pushing themselves into too much, or they are not pushing themselves to stand up and be the bright star they really are. But when it comes to ego, the way you treat yourself and your ego, something is just not right. There's going to be an ego death there, which is going to end up changing all relationships as a result. This is especially true for men or those who identify as male. Okay. So it's going to be in that regard. Now, when it comes to partnerships, this is where you're going to be a star. Leos are going to show us how to be friends in the new era. Leos are going to show us how to partner with people. Leos are going to show us how to get along with people. Leos are sort of taking over the Libra's job in the new era is what's happening. They're going to be the Libras of the zodiac. They're going to show us how relationships work, And so, of course, you must make your relationship work first, particularly your relationship with yourself for this to happen. But you are going to be a star in partnerships, which may mean that you are the star in the partnership, perhaps. But I think there's a level of equality in the new era. So really, you have to get used to having a little room in the spotlight for whoever you're in partnership with. Share the spotlight. That'll be part of it. Now, with the sextile of Venus and Neptune, you must commit to a higher quality of life. A higher quality of life. This means the dimension and energy that you are in every day is awesome. That you have this awesome energy of life every day. And this has to be completely aligned with your transformation, your life transformation. So what this is saying is Leos will not change their life unless they change their lifestyle. You're not going to be able to change who you are if you don't change your daily routines, the quality of work, where you work, how you work, all that, a daily life. So there's no way you cannot like be in a bad situation at work and expect yourself to change out of codependent issues or to get over an addiction or to transition past your Saturn return. If your life doesn't support it, you're going to get pulled down. So you have to commit to a lifestyle that matches your change, okay? That the changes you intend to have. And I'm talking to myself here. Yikes. Virgos, the virtuosos of the new era. Virgos, you have some sort of ego issue when it comes to your body. You know you do. Virgos all have an issue with their body. Somewhere their ego is saying that they have to be a certain weight or they have to look a certain way or they can't age. Or sometimes Virgos are like being super granola down to like a crazy, like can't order anything on any menu. You know, I see all sorts of ego issues with Virgo. I see them compare themselves to other people so much. And so there's something around your ego and your body and your ego and your health. And by the way, it can be ego with your stress. Okay. So you may let your ego stress you out too much. And that would be a shitty ego that's stressing you out all the time or making you competitive. So it's basically your ego messes up how you live in the moment. And so your ego needs to be on the side of peace, tranquility, and growth. Okay. That is the big thing. Now, that said, in the virtuoso of the future, Virgos are going to teach us what a quality life really is. Virgos have always told us about how hard life is, but now in the new era, they're going to show us how good life can be. Obviously, it's a new era if Virgos are pointing out how good life can be. Now, I'm not saying that's true for all Virgos. I'm just saying that Virgos have had a real struggle with the quality of life. They haven't been happy with the quality of life in most cases. Some have, but this is why they're clean freaks, because they want a high quality life. Here's the good news. You're going to now manifest a high quality life and you're going to show us how it's done. So you are going to be, I can't remember her name now. Rachel Ray. Yeah, Rachel Ray. I think that's it. She's like the homemaker kind of, she's a Virgo. Yeah, I think she is, if I'm not mistaken. If that's her name, someone tell me in the chat. Now, when it comes to the connection, so you are going to live now a higher vibration life and you're going to show us how it's done. But Venus sextile Neptune says your heart's personal dreams have to be totally in alignment with your partnerships. So kind of like Cancers, you can't have partners that aren't in a full alignment with your heart. There can be no fixer-up men or fixer-up women. And you can't also expect to have perfection either, just to put that out there. You won't get the level of perfection you see. It's impossible. Virgos see perfection to a godly level, but your heart must be 100% in line with where your relationships are going, and your partnerships must be 100% in line with your heart. So partnerships and heart must be connected. And by the way, this isn't just romantic. This is also, thanks, Kat. This is also, business partnerships, friendships, gym partners, yoga partners. They all must come from the heart and they must be aligned to your personal dreams. All right. All righty. Libras. Libras, you have an ego issue around self-love. And boy, do you. I definitely see it in all the Libras I know. It's like Libras are the big pushers for relationships to work, but then they treat themselves last. They put themselves last, throw themselves under the bus. They feel like they have to sort of earn love a lot of times I've seen with Libras and prove themselves. So the Libras are going to teach us about love in the new era. Libras are going to sort of be the Leos. I just realized this. I just realized that Leos are going to be the Libras and Libras are going to be the Leos. That's fascinating. But you have an ego issue about loving yourself. Either you abandon yourself and then you go overboard and then you abandon yourself again, because that's the way it is with Libra. So the scales go flop, titty, flop, titty, flop. Maybe you love yourself too much. I do know a few Libra men who think they're God's gift and they've like taken advantage of that. So they've loved themselves and loved themselves to such a degree that it's snuffed out real love in their life. So I have seen it go too far in this regard, but your ego around loving yourself needs to be reborn, and you need to love yourself in a healthy, gradual, like nice, even keel, steady as she goes sort of ambition versus high highs and low lows, big changes like that. Now, when it comes to where the star where you really are, Libras are going to become stars. Libras are going to manifest their personal dreams. The new era is that Libras have their dreams come true. And where this really helps society is Libras are always thinking for others. So Libras are going to have their dreams come true, and they're going to consider others while they do it. So their work is going to be profound, because they're going to teach the people who tend to stomp on the small guy. They're going to show us how to be a star and not walk on people. I think it's going to be fascinating. I cannot wait to see it. So you're going to hold the space for how to chase after our dreams in a more balanced and fair way. Now, Neptune sextiling Venus, your ruling planet, says that you have to commit to your emotional security. That means what will make you feel grounded and secure. And that has to be coordinated with your quality of life. You can't give up quality of life for emotional security. And you can't give up emotional security trying to have a quality life. So you can't work your butt off and get no sleep, and you can't sleep all the day and fail to do something in life. So you're coordinating now being well cared for and having a high quality vibration. And that high quality vibration in life is your destiny. You are here to have a high vibrational experience and be a star when it comes to personal dreams. Interesting. Scorpios. Scorpios, you have an ego that needs to die around your feelings. And I have seen this. When a Scorpio's feelings get hurt, whoa, watch it. Stand back. There is definitely a reaction. Now, I'm not saying it's easy to have your emotions, your feelings get hurt. I don't like when my feelings get hurt either. But something with your ego goes a little too far. Either it goes, I've seen it all scapes. I've seen it where the stinger is going to kill you because you hurt my feelings or I feel bad. Or I've seen Scorpios who just go down this dark well where they just feel like they're trapped in this well like a kid and they're never going to get out of the well. So I've seen the ego of Scorpios go way far when it comes to the way they nurture their own feelings and care for themselves. So the ego needs to be reborn. You are the peaceful warriors of the new era. And if you're a peaceful warrior, then you must be kind and compassionate and patient with your own feelings. I think that's also part of what I see with Scorpios. Y'all are impatient with feelings. Like, I feel bad. And they sort of expect to feel good in like 2 seconds. It's like, it's going to take a little while. Ask a Cancer. It's going to take a little while. That's ego. That's Mars. That's impatience. Now, other people have these issues too, by the way. I'm not picking on you. I'm picking out the thorn in the paw here. Now, the good news is you're actually going to turn out to be a leader when it comes to what emotional security and groundedness is. Scorpios, I call the peaceful warriors because of Aquarius in their fourth house. They're going to find an emotional peace that's going to ground the whole room. That's going to ground the whole office. And I already feel they protect the whole room and protect the whole office. But now you're going to ground. Ground meaning that anyone's a little crazy is going to come around you and feel calm. Yes, calm with this stinger in the air. And it's not because of a threat. So you're going to teach us how to live a high vibrational family life. You're going to fight for the family. You're going to be here to show us how to have new era families. You're going to show us how to have roommates in the right way. You're going to show us how to build our homes in constructive ways that help us. You're going to probably have crystal palaces for homes. Scorpios are going to sort of be going back home to the Scorpio den to innovate what home, family, and emotional security is in the new era. Now, where you must connect is Venus at step 26 says your attitude has to be completely in line with your personal dreams. And I see this because your destiny is to have your dreams come true. Neptune in the fifth house. That's your destiny, to have your dreams come true this lifetime. If you're a Scorpio this lifetime, your destiny is to have your dreams come true. Can't say that for every lifetime. It's just a feature of this one with Neptune and Pisces. All right. Now, your thoughts have got to be on that page. So your mind cannot go south. It cannot go dark. It cannot start doubting things. It cannot adopt this skeptical attitude. Dump the skepticism. Okay. Trust, but verify. But your attitude has got to be 100% pro personal dreams and drop any shadow or any doubt or the shadow of any doubt. Okay. Beyond the shadow of a doubt. Drop that. Okay. And get your mind on the full page that your dreams are coming true and lock in that attitude. Sagittariuses have an ego when it comes to the way they think of themselves. They will get in an argument. The biggest thing I see with Sages, and the most common thing is some Sages are thinking themselves in ways that are a bit self-aggrandizing, like a little like better than thou, believe it or not. Like I'm the greatest, which is fine as long as you're being honest with yourself. But most Sages I see actually kind of like talk themselves down. Their ego will create these false humility statements like, "Oh, I'm stupid," or I don't matter," or "Of course I messed up." And, it's cute humor to be to have that sort of humor with yourself. But the truth is you program yourself into believing that. So I think in most cases, Sages are self-deprecating as a means of humility, but I think it's actually holding back your abilities. So it's time now to rebirth a healthy ego in the way you respond to your own thoughts about yourself, in essence. Now, where you're going to be the leader of the new era is an attitude and strategy. Sages are going to really show us how it's done. They're going to communicate with us the right mindset to take, the right approach to take, the right algorithm to use. You're going to be sort of Geminis in the new era, and Geminis are going to be Sages. So Sages and Geminis switch in the age of Aquarius, or in the age of this new era. They switch as far as their roles. You are now the messengers of the new era and the leaders of attitude and the right attitude to take, which means there's going to be a little bit of star shine here. I'm calling the Sagittarius as the unicorns of the new era, and boy, are you the unicorn of the new era. Where you must align is your abundance and passive income strategy. So your money strategy has got to be in alignment with your home and family. So you've got to be both making money and also making security. Grounding yourself in a solid home and family that supports your salary, and a salary that's able to support your home and family. So you're basically taking care of the basics with this, and your destiny is to feel emotionally soothed and emotionally grounded. So you could say that your biggest objective financially is to be comfortable. And I would say, if you don't own a home or own something that is yours, this is the time to go for it. Go for it. I know the interest rates are high. You can always refinance later. Okay. So align abundance and money with family and emotional security. Capricorns are the captivators of the new era, and where they have an ego issue is around self-worth. And boy, have I seen this. I've seen Capricorns go, "Oh, my car is a piece of this, and the person I'm dating doesn't respect me." And the ego just like blames all these things in the outer world for why they're not confident and don't feel worthy. So the old era Capricorn would look to the outside, which is the ego, look to behavior, look to their resume, look to their bank account numbers as a means of judging their self-worth. And that ego has to go now. Self-worth must be an energetic thing only. It must be energetic. It must be virtual currency, not hard currency. Okay. So your self-worth must be virtual currency. Now, you are actually going to be the pioneers of conscious capitalism. You are going to be the pioneers of abundance and passive income. You are going to be running the green industries. You're going to be leading us on, the idea of making money where there's plenty to go around for everyone, and fairness of, salary divisions and salary sharing. So you're going to be the role model for how to do business, which is actually the Taurus's job. So Capricorns are acting like Tauruses in the new era, giving us new values and leading us and captivating us to follow new values in the direction that we are going. So get over the ego self-worth thing in order to get there. Now, the sextile between Venus and Neptune says your character and action plan must be aligned with your attitude. So in other words, you must walk your talk. If you say it, you must do it. If you do it, your language must reflect it. Your behavior needs to be 100% in the same alignment with your business plan, your strategy, your algorithms, what you say, the attitude you take. They have to all be in the same alignment, basically, for you to be able to succeed in the new era. So if you're not doing what you say, either do it or don't say it. Aquarians, the forerunners of the new era. Aquarians are the way you treat yourself and the way you respond to yourself is where you have ego issues. So either sometimes I see Aquariuses get really mad and just be like, I'm out of here. I quit. I'm ghosting this. I'm done. So a lot of times there's a giving up I see with the ego, or they just completely give up. Sometimes I see that the Aquariuses will pick on themselves and force themselves to do something they don't like. So the opposite. But basically, the way you treat yourself, I guess, is old era. The ego, the way your migo is what I call this. Your migo is just not treating you high vibration. Okay. And I think most of it's in private. It's hard to see an Aquarius in private. If you can see an Aquarius in private, you are privileged. Very rarely do you get to see their private lives. So I can't say I've seen a lot of it. I can just see the aftermath of Aquariuses being hard on themselves. So drop the ego on how you treat yourself. You're not treating yourself the way you probably treat others, frankly. Now that's exactly what you're going to teach us, is how to behave in the new era. You are this, where you are going to be a star that you really are, is that you are going to launch a new character. You're going to launch a new plan for how to behave. You're going to show us how it is that we are to behave. You're here to be a role model and an example of what a new era citizen is. You're here to show us what the high vibe response is. You're going to show us the kind of characters that we can be that we never thought we could be. You're going to be pioneering all sorts of quirky characteristics that we've never had the courage to be. So aim for who you really are. Aim for your character to come out the way you really are energetically. Now, with the sextile between Venus and Neptune, you are going to commit now to a faith. You must be committed to your faith. And your faith is a feeling and your relationship to God and your understanding of why you are here. So you must commit to God and spirituality. And this God and spirituality commitment has to be completely in alignment with how you make money. So your money making doesn't have to be holy, but it can't be a sin, okay? Or it can't be empty. I think there must be spiritual meaning and purpose behind your money. So you want to make money based on making the world a better place, or following your spiritual guidance, or based on faith, or based on forgiveness, or based on compassion. The more you align your money making to your spiritual values, the more money I believe Aquariuses are going to make as the forerunners of the new era. And then lastly, but never leastly, the Pisces. Pisces are the dream weavers of the new era. And right now, your ego attacks you when it comes to fear and lack of faith. So Pisces have an ego issue to kill off when it comes to the way you beat yourself up, worry, push yourself too hard, freak out, allow fear to take over, allow a lack of faith to drown you and suffocate you. Your ego is not sticking up for your faith, basically. You're still stuck in the old ego that feels guilty for past life jackass errors. And so you're still treating yourself like you're in trouble. And that's not the truth. You're not in trouble anymore. This is the new era. You're done. It's not the age of Pisces coming up. You're done. You're off the hook. You're off the fish hook. You're not in trouble. So your ego must promote faith instead of promoting, being in trouble or fear-mongering yourself as being in trouble. Your purpose in the new era is to show us God and spirituality. You are going to be the dream weavers because you are the one who help us see that life is but a dream, that we are living in a dream in heaven right now, dreaming this moment together. Your connection to God is going to pioneer the spiritual ascension of the planet and go to a higher degree. And you are to aim this week for that spiritual goal. Do you want to be telepathic? Do you want to astral travel? Do you want to talk to angels? Do you want to bridge different dimensions? What is it? That's the goal that you're creating this week, is your relationship to God and spirituality. With Venus sextiling Neptune, you must be committed to who you will be in the world. And this must be completely tied to how you act in person. So you are coordinating social reputation goals and social ambitions with actual behavior. In other words, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. That's what it's supposed to be for Pisces now. It's time for you to behave as though you are the rock and roll star. Behave as though you are the world's greatest dad. Behave as though you are, the leader of your community. So aligning your behavior with your public and social realm goals. Brilliantly. All right. That is all we have for our horoscopes for the day, or for the week, I should say. They'll come back out on Tuesday, as I said. So check in with them. I do think after Sunday, things will be a little interesting. We're going to take a little intermission, and we come back. We have dream expert coming here, Lauri. She's amazing, by the way. She is beautiful and she's intelligent and she has all sorts of things to talk about. Lauri Loewenberg comes right after this. This zodiac weather is from Saturday, February 10th to Friday, February 16th, 2024. Looking ahead first at the weekend forecast, it's going to be an expansive weekend. You're going to expand into new potential, but then something far out may happen on Sunday. Let's drill down. On Saturday, it's sunny and beaming. Step 21 means that Jupiter rules the day, so you're going to feel inspired to expand your life into a new rhythm. You're going to be ready to bet on yourself. And with Mercury squaring Jupiter, you're going to know what you are worth. The moon starts in Aquarius, still from the new moon, and then shifts into Pisces, where you may question your own karma. On Sunday, it's cloudy and far out. Step 22 means Uranus rules the day. This is the final Grandmaster day of the Aquarius season. You will expect the unexpected, as you are going to be in between dimensions and may experience a timeline shift. With the moon in Pisces, that timeline shift will probably be tied to an old karmic era finally ending. Moving ahead to the 5-day weekday forecast, over the course of this week, you will be launching your new rhythm and finding that you belong in a future you may not have imagined. On Monday, it's sunny and clarifying. Step 23 means Mercury rules the day. This will be a crisp and intellectual day. You will see a new perspective on your life, and you'll also refine your spiritual vision. The moon will shift from Pisces into Aries, so by the second part of the day, you may be feeling a little aggro. On Tuesday, it's sunny and forgiving. Step 24 means Venus rules the day. This is an easygoing, creative, resting, and receiving day. You are accepting the new rhythm of life and the new reality you are adopting. You are realizing your old ego is now dying. And with Venus sextiling Neptune, you are coordinating business deals with karmic destiny. On Wednesday, it's sunny and celebrating. Step 25 means that Neptune rules the day. You are aligning your spiritual calling with your rhythm and your future plans. You could also say this is the birth of the new winged ego. And with Mars conjoining Pluto, some old ego on Valentine's Day will die. It may be a tense date night. On Thursday, it's sunny and sensational. Step 26 means that Saturn rules this day. This will be the most serious day of the week, but you will walk away feeling completed as you will now commit to a brighter future. You are banking on your self-esteem. And with Mercury sextiling the North Node in Chiron, you are feeling healed and ready to proceed on a new adventure. The moon in Taurus means that you will feel a new life starting to manifest now. And then on Friday, it's sunny and invested. Step 27 means that Mars is ruling the day. This is the day where you will act out and live the new rhythm in motion. You'll see your life shifting to light speed. Venus enters into Aquarius, so things may feel a little strange. And Mercury squares Aquarius, which means your mind must now reconcile your earning potential.
It's serious joy, joy, joy.
astrology guidance, you can enjoy an entire month of personalized astrology services for just $3.99. At Serious Joy, we pride ourselves on providing astrology enthusiasts with exactly what they're looking for: daily personalized inspiration that speaks directly to the heart. Sign up today, and you'll receive personalized messages straight to your phone 7 days a week. And that's just half of it. You'll also get access to our exclusive members-only site with tons of amazing features. Experience the most accurate astrology service on the web at seriousjoy.com.
Welcome to Astro Mingle, the spiritual podcast that mingles with the talented light workers and innovative influencers of our time. We are always interested in exploring the multiverse realism of consciousness and human awareness, the 12th house, the subconscious. Welcome to Astro Mingle, the spiritual podcast that mingles with the talented light workers and innovative influencers of our time. We are always interested in exploring the multiverse realism of human consciousness and awareness. In astrology, it's the 12th house, the subconscious, psychic awareness, and in particular, dreaming is a huge fascination and study. And tonight's guest is a worldwide frontrunner expert on the topic of dreaming. Lauri Loewenberg has kept a dream journal since she was a child. One night, at the age of 19, her deceased grandfather visited her in a dream and gave her a life-changing message. It was then that she decided to dedicate herself to finding out what dreaming is and why we do it and what it means. With a background in dream psychology, Lauri is now a professional dream analyst and author of Dream on It, Unlock Your Dreams, Change Your Life. She's been featured on CNN, Good Morning America, Fox Business, The View, The Steve Harvey Show, Live with Kelly and Ryan, Dr. Oz, E!, and is a recurring guest expert on The Today Show. She currently resides in Tampa, Florida, with her handsome husband, her son, and her orange tabby, Sigmund. Please send waves of love and gratitude as I wholeheartedly welcome Step 16 Aries Dream Analyst, Lauri Loewenberg. Hello, Lauri.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on.
It's a pleasure. And, dreams is a big part of our life that I don't think we talk enough about, frankly. And I notice you're just all over the place on morning radio, on talk shows, obviously well liked and accepted into the media because everyone has these issues that go on in their dream life, but we don't have an outlet for it. You have a really interesting story as how you got into this. Would you mind telling us your story, what happened at age 19?
Sure. So my whole life, I've been interested in dreams. I can remember them since I was like 2, 3 years old. Was always paying attention to them, drawing them, writing them down. But it wasn't until I was 19 and my grandfather died. And he's the first person close to me that died. So he was like the first grief that I ever experienced.
Yeah.
About 2 weeks after his death, I had this dream where we're in a museum and we're walking arm in arm, and I knew he had died. I had that awareness. And so I asked him what it was like where he's at. And he said, "Well, I can't tell you that, but what I can tell you is that it is secure." And I remember that word secure. It's very specific. And then he gave me a hug and he started walking up the staircase. And as he was walking up, I began to wake up and I could smell his old spice. I could feel him, and then I just laid there for the longest time, still in that glow. It just felt so different than all these other magical dreams I'd experienced. This one was different. And that's the dream that propelled me to study dream psychology, because that is the dream that made me wonder, okay, what the heck is this? What is the purpose? Why do we do it? Where do we go? What is it all about? And so I was so impressed with how actually practical our dreams are and how connected they are to our waking life. They seem very ethereal, otherworldly, like it's not even a part of us, but it is. So I was so impressed with that practicality of our dreams that I decided to make a career out of it, because this is way back in the 90s. No one was doing it back
Yeah.
then. And so, long story short, here I am today. I've written 3 books and I'm all over the media, trying to wake people up to the unbelievable power of their dreams.
Wake people up to dreaming. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant analogy. How did you study formally? I saw on your website that you study with Katya Romanoff in
Mhm.
1996. What does an education in dream psychology amount to? What kind of course structure is that? How long does it
Right.
take? Sounds fascinating.
It is fascinating. Now, this again, back in the 90s, you just couldn't find any dream psych courses. Universities barely even scratched the surface of dreaming, if at all. So this was a independent study underneath Katya Romanoff, PhD. And so it was basically, it was a collegiate course. It was a 55-hour collegiate course, and it was very structured. And we learned, it's basically the Carl Jung's approach to
Mm,
dreaming, which is where everything in the dream is some part of the dreamer. And then
okay.
the foundation of it is also learning the archetypes within all of our dreams. And archetypes is the symbols in our dreams that are typical among all of us. And so that's like the framework is understanding symbology. And then from there, you learn how to connect everything in the dream to what's going on in your life right now and what part of you the the different pieces of the dream represent. And it's a way of learning how to put the pieces of the puzzle together in order to see the big picture, the big message that the dream is giving you.
Mm. I went to film school. It sounds similar. Because it is kind of a bit of a movie. Is there also a psychological aspect that comes into that education as far as what the client
Yes.
might be experiencing personally? I imagine that was part of Jung's philosophy, right?
Yes, 100,000%. There's a
Okay.
psychological aspect of it. It is a form of psychology, and
Hmm.
finally now these days, mental health practitioners are beginning to incorporate dream work into their practices. Universities are putting a lot more focus on dreaming in their psych courses because there is truly nothing more telling, more revealing, more honest about the individual than their dreams, because it is your subconscious mind at work, and your subconscious is, your authentic self. It's your deeply rooted, unprejudiced core of who you are. And when you're dreaming, you are without distractions
Hmm.
because your eyes are closed, you've turned out the outside world, and you've gone deep into yourself, and you're exploring yourself and how the world affects you, how relationships affect you, how you react to everything. And so your dreams just really, when you understand the symbology, really show you a clear, brutally honest picture of what's going on.
And is that symbology specific to your life individually as far as what spiders mean to you, or is there more of a global collective consciousness to it?
Yes, so there's both. There are, like I talked about, the archetypes, the symbols that show up in our dreams that are have a collective meaning for the most part for most of us. Like, for example, being chased in a dream would typically mean there's something going on right now in your real life that you're trying to avoid dealing with.
Hmm.
And then you mentioned spider. That's a good one. That would have a personal meaning to the individual. Archetypically, a spider would represent deceit, a web of lies that you're feeling trapped in.
Hmm.
But for example, using a spider, and that's actually such a good example because I use that a lot. I had a client, who was dreaming of spiders. So I asked her, okay, pretend you're writing a definition for Webster's dictionary, or that you're explaining a spider to a 5-year-old. How would you describe the spider? What is its nature? What is a spider? The first thing she said was, well, they invade your home. So that's
Mm.
specific to her. That's her relation, her association to spiders. And so I jumped on that. I was like, okay, so what's going on right now where you're feeling invaded? Turns out she
Mm.
had a friend who was sneaking into her diary
Whoa.
and it
Wow.
was also being deceitful. So the spider is very applicable.
Spider sat down beside her.
Yes, it did.
You say on your website in a video that dreams are messages from you to you about you in order to improve you.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that perspective?
Yes. So you want to look at your dreams as a conversation with yourself.
Mm,
They seem like they're coming from somewhere else. And, there's things in our dream that don't seem like we would come up with it. And we'll also sometimes behave in a dream in a way we would not normally. So we kind of disassociate from the dream when we're remembering it or telling it to someone. But the truth is, the dream is you. You created it. Your brain created that. That is all you. And like Jung would pound in that everything in the dream is a part of you. It is your creation. And so, as you're going about your day, you're talking to yourself. You're driving
Yeah.
to work, you're talking to yourself. You're loading the dishwasher, you're talking to yourself. You're showering, you're talking to yourself. Um, as you drift off at night, you're talking to yourself. And so that stream of consciousness, that inner dialogue continues. But once you enter REM dream sleep, you're still talking to yourself, but now, since your brain is working differently at this point, you're talking in symbols, metaphors, emotions, and memories.
Mm. So is it true? I mean, I've heard, and this might be coming from Carl Jung, that every person in the dream is actually a version of myself that I'm talking to. Do you look at that perspective as well?
Yes, you always, when you're working through a dream and trying to figure it out, start with the self, and then you work outward to what is closest to you. Okay, um, this homeless person in the dream, if there's nothing about this I can associate with, then I need to start working out. Is this my partner? Is my partner feeling transient right now? Or is it, my child or my best friend? So you just work out and then you'll make the connection. But it's always going to be about you or something that directly affects you.
Hmm. So, I mean, literally, so if there's like a psycho killer in my dream,
Mhm.
that's not me.
It probably is.
Okay. There aren't any for disclaimers, nor are there spiders, but I'm just saying, yeah,
There
interesting.
might be tonight.
Yeah, after this, exactly. You've just opened up the Pandora's box,
Yeah,
probably.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. Actually, I'm down. I'm all for it. Um, I've also, a lot of my viewers actually tell me that I appear in their dreams
Hmm.
all the time, which is a compliment. I do certainly wake up tired, like I've been working all night. Do you feel that these types of encounters are literal telepathic connections to other people? Or do you think that they are projections? Because I serve as a teacher in their life, so they're just sort of having a dream with their teacher. Do you believe there's real astral connections going on in the sleeping world?
I think most of the time it is all inner work.
Okay.
But I do believe that because of the way the brain works while we're in REM dream sleep and the frequency at which our brain waves are working during REM dream sleep, that does allow us to sometimes tune in like a radio to other frequencies of consciousness that are out there, which is why I believe I was able to communicate with my deceased grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe we can communicate with those that have passed on because I believe consciousness continues after death. And I believe, it's science tells us it's any kind of energy that exists travels in waves, light waves, sound waves, radio waves. So even our brains work in waves. So consciousness would still work in a wave formation. So I do think because of that, we can tune into those that have passed on, the consciousness of those that have passed on, and sometimes the consciousness of each other.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I had a similar experience. I had a dream that my grandfather offered me everything in his garage. And I was like, I don't want any of that stuff, Grandpa. Like, and he's like, okay. And then the next morning he died. So I realized he
Um,
was offering me his valuables before he died, but it was before he died. It wasn't after death. But I've had many dreams where my grandmother has come through and it feels
mm,
very much like they're reaching out to me.
mhm,
But with modern technology too, it's like you can think of a person, you get a text message from them 2 minutes later. It's kind of helping us. So if anything, I would think that you're feeling them thinking of you and maybe you're imagining that connection, if not literally. But I've had people who have learned things from dead people in their dreams. They've told me the stories of like where
mm.
something's located in the house, or
Yes.
that's pretty phenomenal. You must have a lot of interesting anecdotes like that just from what you do. I mean, obviously confidential, but you must have, are you starting to see a general trend that yes, indeed, beyond your grandfather with your clients, there is this connection to the afterlife?
Yes. And that there are like what we call okay, so there's precognitive dreams that can happen, which is where a dream kind of shows you a glimpse of the future. And then there's also ESP dreams that can happen that are showing you something right now, currently, or like you're communicating with someone right now while you're in the dream state. So these do happen now. It's not, the vast majority of your dreams are going to be inner work and all about you. But sometimes, we do tune into this. So, like with precognitive dreaming, there's lots of recorded cases of them, and they do have to meet a criteria. They have to happen within days or weeks. The event that you dreamt about has to happen within days or weeks of you dreaming it, not like years down the road. It can't be like weird and bizarre and symbolic. It has to be quite literal, like something that would happen in real life. And there has to be enough coincidences so that you can't deny it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you an example of Mark Twain had a
Oh.
famous precognitive dream that his brother died in a riverboat accident. A
Mm.
few days later, he got word that let me tell you the dream first. In his dream, he had heard that his brother died in a riverboat accident. So he goes to identify the body. And so where they had set up the morgue was in the basement of some building. And the casket his brother was in was sitting on the arms of two chairs. And when he looked at his brother, he had a bouquet of flowers on his chest that was white roses with one red rose right in the middle.
Hmm.
Okay, a few days later, he got word that his brother died in a riverboat accident. He goes to identify the body. The casket was on the arms of two chairs. And as he's identifying his brother, a nurse walks in holding a bouquet of white roses with a red rose in the middle. So all of that is undeniable.
Hmm.
No, it's not one of those dreams where you can sort of paint the bullseye around the arrow. That's all. He came true exactly as he dreamt it. So that's the criteria that it has to meet in order to be considered and documented as a precognitive dream.
That's pretty literal, hard to deny.
Yes.
Do you personally believe that something like that is maybe to prepare Mark Twain for what's about to happen? What's the, spiritual reason for that, maybe? Just a hypothesis.
Right. It could have been to prepare. It also could have been that the death made such a, what's time? Is it really linear? We live it
Right.
linearly, but who knows? So maybe the death made such an impact that it sort of put out a ripple effect into the universe, and he picked up those ripples, matched his brainwave frequency when he was dreaming, and he picked up on it.
Interesting. I mean, a lot of deja vu dreams that really seem so insignificant, like me bending down to pick up a box of Tide, something,
Yes.
something really stupid like that. And I'll be like, I dreamt this just a couple nights
Yes.
ago, and it's just
Yes.
so stupid. It means nothing. I don't know if that's just a first contact kind of thing that's happening with myself. I'm not sure. I mean, how do you interpret something so mundane?
Right. Again, it's like, is time really linear?
Mm,
Sometimes are we just piercing the fabric of time when we're in the dream state? But it's interesting that you brought up deja vu, because a lot of research has shown that deja vu is connected to something we previously dreamt, which is why it has such a familiar feeling. Some people don't make the connection that they dreamt it. They just have that familiar feeling. But a lot of people like you do make that connection. Oh, wait, I had this dream.
yeah.
I dreamt this. And then more of the dream starts flooding back to you afterwards. It's really
Yeah.
freaky.
It is really freaky. And so I'm always left questioning, like, is this an important moment?
Right.
Looking
Sometimes it's
around,
not. You
like,
just
is my
drop the
wife
tide.
somewhere here? Yeah, exactly. Nope, you're buying Tide.
Yeah.
Okay, which is a big deal because I don't usually buy it, but okay, I got you, universe.
Mhm.
It seems like there's different levels of dream. I mean, I know there's lucid dreaming. Are there
Mhm.
categories of dreaming? Because I've certainly had dreams that just blew my mind away as far as the vibrant colors and where I was. I've had a couple dreams where now I'm an astrologer, so I'll have dreams I'm actually visiting planets. And
Mm.
I'm just in awe. In awe that I'm in a spaceship, but I'm in a spaceship. I'm talking to other spaceships. It's so incredibly creative. It's hard to believe my higher self is that creative.
I know. But
Sometimes
wait,
it's
the
incredible.
the
Yeah.
subconscious mind is so powerful and so creative and so intuitive and so smart. You know,
Yeah.
we're actually much smarter when we dream, meaning
Mm.
just because of the messages our dreams provide us. Our dreaming mind, subconscious mind, is like our own built-in therapist who knows exactly what we need to do, who knows exactly what's wrong, what needs to be corrected, and how to correct it. The answers we need for ourselves are built right in.
Yeah.
That's why I think that dream work is so important for mental health practitioners to start incorporating into their
Yes.
practice. I have taught several mental health practitioners how to incorporate dream work into their practice, and they've told me that when they've started interpreting dreams, they get to the meat of the issue in one session, which would normally take like 9 to 10 sessions to get to, because dreams are so that zeroed in and focused in on the issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally giving you it seems I mean, in astrology, we have what we call the 12th house in the consciousness, which is our subconscious. And, I have clients who will one thing I've noticed is that when they have a lot of planets in the 12th house, they tend to learn all from their dreams, and they tend to be not very psychic in their waking life. And it seems that
Mm.
that's where they do all their psychoanalysis and putting all things together. And I've just noticed that trend, and that represents that they have stuff buried in their subconscious. So it seems like for many, dream life is the safe place to explore a lot of what would be scary topics in the waking.
Yes. Because anything you ever experience, anything you've ever seen, anything you've ever touched, tasted, talked about, any experience you've ever had is stored in your subconscious. It's like this enormous built-in warehouse where your entire life is.
Yeah.
um, and each day you get new deliveries into that warehouse. It's all there. And so sometimes very often your subconscious will reach into that warehouse and bring something up you completely forgot about in
Yeah.
order to give you a message and make a point. And what it's really doing when it's pulling up something from the past that you forgot about, it's doing a comparative analysis to something that's going on in your life right now. That's why
Mm,
we dream so much of things from the past. Like, I dreamt of this kid in the third grade I haven't even thought about since then. Okay, so why? What stands out about that kid from the third grade? What do you remember about them?
mhm.
Well, I remember that he never spoke up. He was so shy. Okay, how are you being shy right now? Or are you dealing with someone that's as shy as that kid right now? There's a reason that that thing from your past is being brought to you at this moment. Because either you learned from it and you need to apply that lesson again now, or you never learned from it and here is an opportunity to learn this time.
It's almost like your subconscious is playing charades with you. Like 2 syllables, sounds like.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And you're trying to figure out this puzzle game. And it seems, I mean, I don't know. It seems like there's a version of myself that's smarter in my dreams, like you mentioned. Um, and do you equate that? So in spirituality, we wonder if that's our higher self. Do you have an opinion like as to what that personality is? Because it seems like an even nicer guy.
Or sometimes an even more dastardly, murderous person,
That's true too.
um, that's one of those mysteries that I'm still
Okay.
learning and figuring out, but I theorize that the part of us that the subconscious um, is the part of us that is still got a foot in the source or whatever you want to call it that we
Okay.
all come from and return to, because we stay connected to that source and we're
Yeah.
a lot more open to it when we're in the dream state. And you know it, the source or wherever that is, whatever it is, it doesn't really have the same rules that we have here on the earthly plane.
Hmm.
So murder isn't quite the same in that realm as it is here. Here it's awful, but there it's just like forcing an end so that you can grow.
Hmm. Yeah, there are a lot of mystics and gurus out there that say that when we fall asleep, we are going to other realms, that we're actually going back to our guardian angels or our guidance, and that the dream state is some sort of an in between state between going to
Yeah.
that higher place. And I know, like, what's interesting is the invention of sleep apps, right?
Mhm.
Getting this report every morning, from wearing your watch or,
Yeah.
and I'm surprised, there's different cycles. There's light sleep, there's deep sleep, and there's
Mhm.
REM sleep.
Mhm.
Which is the realm that we're dreaming in?
REM sleep.
Okay.
So you go through your stages of sleep, and then the last stage is REM dream sleep. And we have every 90 minutes we enter REM dream sleep, and each
Mm.
cycle of REM dream sleep is longer than the previous one. So your first dream of the
Oh,
night will be like 5 to 7 minutes, and then your next dream of the night will be like 20 minutes, and then that last dream if you have like a good 7 8 hours of sleep, that last dream you have before you wake up in the morning can be 45 minutes to an hour long. And those
okay.
are the ones that we tend to remember the most, and that's also
Yes.
why dreams sometimes, a lot happens in the dream, but when you tell it, it only takes a couple minutes, you
Right.
know. So time is weird in dreams as well.
Yes. Time is really weird. And that
Mhm.
makes a lot of sense because I only tend to remember the dream right when I wake up.
Mhm.
Um,
Because when you hit the deep delta sleep, that's like when your brain defrags.
okay.
And so that's a deep deep sleep, and it kind of wipes everything and refreshes your brain. So it's much easier to remember a dream you wake up from as opposed to one you slept through, because of that deep delta kind of doesn't fully erase it, but it makes it a lot harder to get to.
I see. It serves as a barrier. And they say that's the restorative sleep
Hmm.
that you absolutely need. And probably what
Yes.
makes people who stay up forever, that's what makes you crazy is you don't have that deep restorative sleep. So
Yes.
literally we're dreaming as we come out of that. Basically when the brain reboots and comes back online, is what you're saying. This is when REM happens.
Right before you wake up. REM's a lighter stage of sleep. So right after
Mhm.
REM, you hit alpha. And then, that's when you might go to the bathroom and then get back in bed, or that's like when you wake up and kind of roll over. And then it starts all over again, and you go through the stages again, and then you go through the delta, and then jump right up into REM, and then wake up a little, and then do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I remember as a kid when we had clock radios back in the day before
Hmm.
phones, and the radio would come on, and I would sometimes incorporate like the news hour or the traffic
Yes.
report into my dream.
Yes.
Like they'd be telling me the traffic in Chicago or whatever, and I would think I was sitting with that person. So I was incorporating stuff going into my
Hmm.
environment into the dream, and that seems to be this sort of now. Is there a name for that realm where you're half in, half out?
It's called hypnagogia.
Ooh, that's a great word.
Isn't it? It should
Hypnagogia.
be
I
the name
love
of
it.
a band, I think.
It's
So
maybe the
that's,
title of your fourth book.
you know, good idea.
It's a great title. Yeah.
So it's the first part of sleep as on the onset of sleep, you're in hypnagogia, and then on the outset of sleep, you're in hypnagogia. And that is when actually a lot of weird things can happen. It's a really neat state of consciousness. Edison used to purposefully get into that state of consciousness so that he could perfect his inventions. A lot of people call it your brainwaves at that point in alpha, is the rhythm of genius. So it's a creative state when you can come up with a symphony or correct that invention or get that guitar riff just right. So what he would do, he would keep kind of like a recliner in his lab, and he would get in it so he could take a nap, and he would hold ball bearings in his hand.
Mm.
So he would get into that alpha, and then if he got too deep, his hand would drop, and then the ball bearings would hit the floor and wake him, so that he could easily grab whatever was going on, what he called grab ideas from space, what was
Mm.
going on in his mind in that really light, cool kind of rhythm of genius state of mind.
And in in the spiritual world, hypnagogia, which I didn't know that was called, they claim that that's the realm to in which to manifest reality. That if
Mm-hmm.
you consciously create in that space, you will manifest faster than other realms. And interesting, in my own experience, I have this system that I downloaded in astrology called stepastrology, but I was in that state. I was receiving lectures from some being about stuff.
Hmm.
it was very strange. So right before I wake up, there would be little lectures. Yeah, I see your black cat is
I
saying
didn't know he was in here. If he
yeah.
meows again, I'll put him out.
Mm. Quite all right. Cats love me for some reason. In readings, they jump up, they want
Oh,
to get in the way. I'm not
really?
sure what that is.
Hmm.
Must be some Egyptian past life.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll put
possibly.
him out. He's old and
Okay,
cranky, so he's not going to shut up unless I'm
no
sorry.
problem. No, take your time.
Come on. Okay. So sorry.
No, that's quite all right. Animals are our rulers. I know the truth.
Yes, yes, they are, especially cats.
Yeah, they rule us. So yeah, have you had any reports in your dream life? Because I received regular instructions right in that state about it was stuff like yellow is the number two and number two is the second chakra. It was literally lectures.
Interesting.
Have you had an experience in clients with receiving instruction?
Let's see, instruction. Well, I've been given information like when our dog took off after a garbage truck scared her and she went missing for days. And in a dream, I was told through the voice of my real estate lady, I was told where she was. And she was. And my real estate lady was saying, go west. And then I could see my dog in like this muddy hill. And so, um, someone had the next day, someone had called because we put flyers up everywhere, and they said, I think I saw your dog in this new development. You know, it was down the road from us, west of us. And we went there and we started calling her. She came running out, and it was like it had rained the day before, so it was muddy hills. It had been cleared, so nothing had been built yet. So it was just muddy hills. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, I've
So
been
you've
given
had that
information
personal
like that.
experience, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, there is like a narration that you just bring up an interesting point. There was a narration, sort of like a video game wizard, but like just this voice just instructing me. I didn't recognize the voice, but it was consistent. It came day after day after day for a series of days.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wish that my dream voice would talk to me in the voice of Donald Sutherland. I love that velvety voice of his.
Well, maybe now it will, now that you put out that formal request, right?
I can hope.
So there's this whole fascination with lucid dreaming. What is your take on
Hmm.
lucid dreaming? It seems like people are, eating eggs, avoiding eggnog. Like there's like this formula that people are taking to induce lucid dreaming. Can you tell us what lucid dreaming is and
Yeah.
are there tips to triggering it?
So lucid dreaming is when you are in a dream and then you have the awareness that you're dreaming. And
Oh,
at that point, you can take over and do anything. 'Cause typically dreams happen to us. We're kind of unwilling participants. It's just happening and then I did this and then I did this and why did I do that? But in a lucid dream, you are the director and the performer and the writer. And so you can do anything. A lot of people become lucid naturally within the midst of a nightmare because
mm,
whatever's going on in the dream is so frightening. It kind of triggers wakefulness. And so they use it to wake up and get out of it
yes.
instead of staying in it and taking control of it.
Mm,
So I am able to lucid dream. It happens to me naturally about once a month. I get
mm,
lucid in my dreams. And so and I always tell people when you become lucid, ask questions
mm,
because the insight you can get is profound
mm,
because what you're doing is you're consciously having a conversation with your subconscious self.
mhm. That's cool.
Yes, and you when you ask a question, you will get answers. And also I like to walk around and explore my dreamscape just to see what my subconscious has built around me, what kind of room am I in? And anyway,
Mm,
it's easiest to become lucid in a dream in the morning when you're in that
okay.
last dream before you wake up because you've gone through all your awake and asleep cycles. And so you're in that last dream before you wake up. It's a lot easier to grab consciousness while still in the dream state because you're close to becoming conscious. So, a little trick I give to people is if you normally wake up at say 6:30, set your alarm for 6. and
Mm.
hit the, have the snooze ready for 20 or 30 minutes to go off again. So when your alarm goes off, hit your snooze, and then you have this really magical window of time that is within 20 or 30 minutes. That's long enough to get back into a dream, but it's short enough that you won't go into that deep delta that will erase the dream. And since you've already gone through the night and you're close to being conscious for the day, it's going to be a lot easier to grab that consciousness while you're in that, because you're also going to stay up here in these lighter stages. So it's going to be a lot easier to grab that consciousness and realize, oh, this is a dream. And then you can do anything. You can fly, you can walk through walls, you can have a conversation with your favorite celebrity, you can have sex, or you can ask questions.
After all those options, it sounds like questions
Yeah,
is the
kind
most
of. Yeah,
mundane.
wah, wah. But that'd be the most helpful.
Or you can psychoanalyze your subconscious. Okay.
Yes.
And are there any, I mean, I was joking about eggs and eggnog, but it seems like there are people who say there's certain foods that lead to lucid dreaming and whatnot. Have you ever come across that as factual or?
There are really the best, most effective. There's a lot of things you can do that will take forever to get you there. Like one is, reality checks. Throughout the day, stop and say, "Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming?" And that'll eventually get you there. But the quickest way is just that little trick in the little snooze button trick in the morning. Also, you mentioned like dietary things that can help.
Mhm.
Vitamin B6 can
Oh,
help.
interesting.
It has been clinically proven to enhance dream recall. So, simply being able to have better dream recall is a big step in being able to get to the point of being lucid in a dream.
Yeah, that was one of my questions since you've segued there naturally. Are just tips to remembering our dreams. A lot of people are like, get up and journal right away. I swear my dream is gone in about 50 seconds. Like
Yes.
when I wake up, it doesn't stick around. I'm still
Yeah.
going, oh crap, I have to get up, like that sort of thing. And
Hmm.
then by the time it's gone. Are there tips and tricks to remembering your dreams?
Yes. You do have to document it as soon as you can, but you got to remember it before you can document it. So,
Right.
when you wake up, whether it's in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom or you're waking up for good in the morning, you have it's crucial that you don't move. You have to stay in the exact same position you woke up in, because the position you wake up in is the position your body was in when you were dreaming. Remember, we tend to wake up right after REM dream sleep. So
Hmm.
you were literally just dreaming seconds ago. So stay put. Don't roll over. Don't move. Quiet your mind, keep your eyes closed, don't think about anything, and let the dream come back to you. And
Hmm.
if all you remember is just a piece, I just remember a dog, something about a dog. That's great. Write that down. So it's like working a muscle. The more you work it, the stronger your dream recall will get.
Hmm.
So once you remember it, write it down, because if you don't, dreams naturally evaporate within 90 seconds of waking up. Write it down or you'll forget it after breakfast.
Hmm. And I love the tip of setting your alarm early. I actually had that realization this morning, actually.
Really?
Not for the purpose of dreams. I just realized I like to snooze a lot. So I'm like, we should start this a whole a little earlier so that I'm not late for stuff. But I do recall, I mean, I can tell you that 9 out of 10 times, if I hit the snooze bar or whatever, I will dream in that little interim
Yeah.
and usually remember it. And sometimes the dream will continue, which is really satisfying. It's rare, but it does happen at times. Are there
Yeah.
tips to continuing dreams? I mean, some dreams, oh my God, some dreams stick with you all day long, right? The
Yeah.
feeling and the vibration, like you can't
Yes.
shake it off the entire day.
Yes.
What do you feel like what's the subconscious's point with that?
It's got a very important message for you when it's really sticking with you. Now, all
Okay.
dreams are important. There's not a single dream you have that should be dismissed as just a
Yeah.
dream, because every dream is an important message that you need to know about your life right now. Uh, but those ones that really stick with you is because they're connected to something very, very important to you that your subconscious wants you to address and probably correct. Because most of the things that we dream about are things that we're trying to figure out. The main purpose, the what I have found is that the biggest purpose of dreaming is to problem solve.
Hmm.
Um, Because, when when we've got a dilemma, we got a problem on our hands, we'll say, okay, well, let me just sleep on it. That's because we're dreaming on it. That's why we say that.
That's interesting. I never put that together. That's so
Yes.
interesting. Yeah.
It's the name of my book, Dream on It. Unlock Your Dreams, Change Your Life. Available
Okay,
everywhere.
interesting. I like the title, but now it has so
Thank
much
you.
more depth. Yeah, that's
Yes.
great.
So you've dreamt on it. So these dreams that just really stick with you, it's because it is connected to and trying to address something that is very important to you. It could be something, the dreams that stick with you that feel good. It's because it's probably connected to a very important relationship to you that makes you feel good, or perhaps
Hmm.
something important you're working on that you're inspired by and excited to work on that feels good. But then there's the dreams that really stick with you that are disturbing, kind of leave you with ugh, you know,
Yes.
and those are connected to a difficult issue that your
Hmm.
subconscious wants you to address and correct. And that's why it feels ugh, because it's connected to something in real life that makes you feel the same way.
Yeah, you mentioned feelings. I think in my own just interpretation, it seems like in modern society, we are dodging feelings as much as we possibly can.
Mhm.
And I've come to realize in a dream how I feel about someone or something that I didn't really acknowledge in my waking. And that feeling will linger and be memorable. And I
Mhm.
can call back up that feeling.
Yeah.
I've always also been confused by sexual dreams in some regards. I've been in healthy, what I thought were great relationships, and then I would have a sexual dream. Sometimes the sex is better. Like you wake up feeling guilty, like you cheated, but you
Yep.
haven't.
Yep. Right.
Like, and that always hurts me because I'm like, oh God, I don't know if I can tell her that I cheated on her last night in my dream. There's a guilt there, but I guess in a Freudian sense, we'll go from Jung to Freud. What's your take on sexual dreaming?
So sex dreams are so interesting, mainly because they feel very, very real, you know.
Yes, and sort of
And
perfect, like, there's no awkwardness, there's no wet spots, like, it's just kinda
well,
perfect.
speaking of wet spots, just a little interesting trivia about sex dreams is that when it comes to orgasms and dreams,
Hmm,
now, young men will have their nocturnal emissions
yeah,
from a dream. But
yeah,
that tapers off after, say, early to mid 20s. And then
mhm.
it's actually rare for a male to orgasm from a dream. It's the opposite for a woman.
Oh, really?
Women will orgasm in their dreams after the
Huh,
20s most often. So women are more likely to actually literally climax from a dream.
huh,
So, and the body reacts just as it would if it were actually happening.
okay,
And luckily for us girls, it's not as messy. But anyway, back to the sex dreams. So the thing
interesting.
about sex dreams, they're interesting because you feel it, but
Yeah,
also it is still symbolic, even though there is a physical response to the sex dream. It is symbolic. So sex in a dream is actually rarely about sex. It's not about a physical union you want, but it's more about a psychological union you need or have had. It's about
mm,
connection. So the dreaming mind will use the act of sex to represent a connection or a merger of ideas or qualities because sex is the ultimate union between two individual bodies. They together come together and become one for a period of time. So the dreaming mind will use that act to let you know there needs to be a connection or a connection is happening. For example, say you had a sex dream about a friend that you would
right.
not never, you have no
Never
sexual
thought that.
desire for this person, but you have this like wild, really deep, intense sex dream. So it's not because you desire them, but probably because you connected, you united with them on some deep level. You might
Mhm.
have had a deep, intimate conversation. You connected in some way. You found you had something in common. You just really felt a connection. Or another reason we'll get a sex dream is that there needs to be a union, a connection of qualities. So, say you had a dream about your boss
Mhm.
and you wouldn't want to and you find them repulsive in that way, but you had that dream because there's something, some quality of that boss that
Mm.
your subconscious wants you to unite, to merge into your own behavior, personality. It could simply be the act of a boss. You need to, act like a boss somewhere in your life. You need to take on some authoritative role. Or maybe your boss stands out in some way and they always close the deal. They're just like really slick. And that's the quality your subconscious wants you to unite and merge into yourself.
Mm. It's certainly a way to get me to pay attention.
Hmm.
As far as my subconscious screaming at me to suddenly have sex with someone I never thought about having sex with in my entire life. And what's weird is you wake up feeling close to them. And then you're like,
Hmm.
then there's a whole nother level of ew, right? Like next
Yes, it
time you
makes
see them, you're just kind of
really
tweaking.
awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm always nervous seeing them again. Like, do they
Hmm.
know? I had this moment, but it's pretty powerful. Another interesting cycle dreams. This is, this topic can go on forever and I love it. What about paralysis?
Mm.
In our this is common in
Hmm.
our industry here in light workers and psychics and mediums. There's this theory, there's this alien extra dimensional theory that when you go into sleep paralysis, you're being controlled by a higher entity, or you might be getting abducted. That's, a lot of abductee
Hmm.
stories talk about that they were in
Yeah.
sleep paralysis. So maybe that's in our brain. So now we think that. I've had it happen to me a couple of times where it's terribly frightening. And talk about lucid dreaming. That's the moment where my mind goes, this is just a dream. You're okay. It's just a dream. Don't
Hmm.
panic. Like there's this voice that comes in and tells me I'm in a dream, but still I was paralyzed and I couldn't move. And there's a bit of a freaking out there, like screaming and not being heard. What is your experience with sleep paralysis?
Okay, so sleep paralysis is a very frightening thing to experience, and
Yeah.
it's when you are where you are in your bed, but you're not real sure if you're dreaming or not.
Yeah.
And a lot of times there will be you'll sense the presence of something or someone in the room with
Yes.
you, in the corner, or maybe they sit down on the bed. Sometimes they're on you and you feel pressure on the chest. Sometimes you'll hear whispers in your ear. Um, a lot of people perceive that presence as a demon or a ghost or an alien.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes you feel your body vibrate. You might feel yourself kind of lift out of your body. There's kind of interesting physical sensations that go along with it, but also you can't move.
Right. Yeah. And you try to, and you can't. I
Yes.
mean,
And
yeah.
you try to scream and you're like, and you can't open your
Right.
mouth.
Yes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is frustrating. It's scary and it never lasts long. It's
Yeah.
really never more than a minute long.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
you wake up, you snap out of it, you're like, oh my God. So here's what's happening physiologically.
Mm.
So we talked about the onset of sleep and the outset of sleep, the hypnagogia. That's where you are when that happens. You're
Mm.
in the in between state. Now, in a normal, healthy night of sleep, you go through your different sleep cycles. And whenever you enter REM dream sleep, your brain releases a chemical, which I can't even begin to pronounce, through your brain stem into your skeletal muscles that will literally paralyze you. So you don't get up and act out the dream. So you are
Huh.
literally paralyzed while dreaming. There are people who sometimes act out their violent dreams. That is REM
Yeah.
behavior disorder. That is not normal.
Hmm.
Um, but normally, for safety, you're paralyzed. And then once you um, leave REM sleep, your brain reactivates your muscles and you're able to roll over or get out of bed or whatever. So when you're not having good sleep, when you've had a fitful night of sleep or your sleep routine is off or you haven't gotten enough sleep in a while, your brain, once you get into REM sleep, your brain and your body aren't in sync. And
Mm.
so you can start to wake up before your brain can catch up and activate your muscles again. So you kind of get stuck. So you're starting to wake up, but your body hasn't caught up. And so you're stuck in paralysis, in hypnagogia, and you're paralyzed at the same time. And it's also in this state, hypnagogia, it is a hallucinatory state. So you will have audio hallucination, hallucinate.
Hallucinations. You got it.
Thank you.
You
I'll
got
get there.
hypnagogia. You're doing great.
And you can also have visual hallucinations.
When you wake up and you see something in the room or something.
Yeah, so you are awake, but you're also kind of still asleep. And you're seeing things and you're hearing things that aren't really there. Your brain is just kind of playing tricks on you and you can't move and it's scary, but it's you're just stuck. You're just stuck.
Hmm.
That's all. And it's completely harmless. And when you know what it is, you can turn it into a lucid dream. And I always preach this on the morning shows, on the morning radio shows that I'm on. I always tell people to do this. So this one morning DJ, I was doing his show in Modesto every week, and I would talk about this. And so this happened to him one morning, and he
Hmm.
remembered what I said, and so he thought he'd give it a try. And he was stuck, and then the little presence in the room to him looked like, the Sandmen in Star Wars,
Hmm.
the little
Little
men
guys with
in
glowing
hoods with
eyes that
the
will
glowing
hijack
eyes.
your
Yeah, and
car and take it apart and sell
yeah,
the parts.
the first
Yeah.
Star Wars. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would sell your parts.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
he that's what he saw in his room. So he asked them,
Hmm.
he goes, "Okay, I'll do what Laurie said. And I'll ask them, what are you?" And they said, "We are your sins."
Whoa.
Yeah.
And he admitted that on the air.
Yeah,
That's
he did.
great.
What made great radio. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
Interesting.
you can turn it into a lucid dream. You can ask questions or you can just have fun with it and float out of bed. Okay, I'm dreaming. I'm going to turn this into a dream. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to walk through the wall. So
I'm going to
have fun
try
with
that.
it.
Yeah, I'm going to try. I certainly know the state. I've also had times where I'll jerk really quick after I fall asleep. It's
Yes.
almost like
Oh
I'm
yeah, yeah. Okay, that's interesting too. So that's called the hypnic jerk.
okay.
And
You're a
so
hypno jerk. Yeah.
so and when that happens on the onset of sleep, you might have a little what I call a dreamlet, and where you kind of feel like you're dreaming, you're like walking along and you trip and then you jerk yourself awake. So what's happening there is that as we fall to sleep, the muscles go into deep, deep relaxation. We kind of lose the muscle control and it feels like falling. And that's why we
Mm.
call it falling asleep.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Yes.
That's another amazing, wow,
Hmm.
takeaway. Yeah, there is that falling. I've noticed when I've been on long road trips and I have like a driving partner
Hmm.
and we switch and I get to now be the passenger and I fall
Hmm.
asleep, I'll have this freak out that I've fallen asleep behind the wheel and I'll wake
Mm.
up stomping my foot on the brake and just terribly. It's to the point where I don't want to fall asleep in the car anymore, but the car lulls me to sleep. Speaking of sleep, I've also had a series of dreams. I don't know if you had this where in the dream I'm falling asleep, which is like I'm seeing my consciousness come down to, and I'm fighting like I'm losing my life or like that I have to stay awake. So in the dream, I'm slapping myself to stay awake, afraid of falling asleep in the dream. It's almost kind of like Inception, where it's like a
Hmm.
layer within a layer. Have you experienced that or heard of those types of things?
Yes, there's also the opposite end of that where you're trying to wake up and you're sure you've woken up. You got up, you got out of bed, you went to the bathroom, started brushing your teeth, but then also, wait, I'm in bed again.
Ah,
Okay, I'll get up. Have you had that happen?
I have had a couple times where I thought I was up and I'm like, oh, no, no, this is the dream. Yeah.
Yeah, the false awakenings. And
Oh,
then there's
okay.
the
Yeah.
the false falling asleep. So again, it's that hypnagogia, the onset and the outset of sleep
Mm,
messes with your brain. Weird shit happens.
yeah.
But usually when these things happen, you have your false awakenings or your false sleepings, it's usually because your sleep has been off.
Oh, okay. That's probably true for me. God knows. Yeah. I'm just now getting into real. So let's talk about that. Good sleep hygiene. What is good
Hmm.
sleep? You must be aware of good sleep hygiene. What do you recommend as a dream
Yes.
expert for good sleep hygiene?
So good sleep hygiene is you want to be able to get at least 6 hours. 7 to 8 is the best, but get at
Yeah.
least 6 hours a night. And you want to have you got to get enough of that good deep delta. If you have
Yeah.
fitful nights of sleep, it's almost like you didn't sleep because you're not
Yeah.
getting into that deep delta. So, good sleep hygiene is where you respect sleep. You
Mm.
respect the bedroom. You give it importance because there's really, it, it is so important. It is so important. That's why sleep divorce is becoming a thing where married partners start sleeping in separate bedrooms simply because they
Oh.
wind up sleeping better when they have their own bed to themselves. And that's okay. That is a-okay to do that because there really is nothing better than a good night's sleep. It restores the brain, it restores the body, it's good for your health. So you got to give your sleep more attention and more respect. And that means, build up to bedtime. you know, um, don't have the TV on. Don't stay on your phone. I'm guilty of this. I do stay on my phone longer than I should before. I'm TikToking,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the light in the phone, messes with your brain and it'll keep you alert much longer than you need to be. You will
Mm-hmm.
fall asleep faster if you just read before going to bed or you journal before going to bed as opposed to having the TV on or being on your mobile device. You want to journal out anything that's on your mind. If you've got a relationship problem, if you got a problem at work, if whatever is on your mind during the day that's troubling you, journal it out before you go to bed. Sort it out so that you don't sit there and think about it and keep yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
Write it out, get it out of your system. Keep your room nice and cool and dark. Our body temperature naturally drops about an 1 degree about an hour before bedtime. So you want to um, welcome that by keeping your room cool. And sleep masks are great. They work wonderfully
They
well.
really do. I just discovered those in the last 5 years. Yeah.
Yes, they work great. Also, a sound machine
Yeah.
that either plays the rhythmic sound of the ocean or just as a nice white or brown noise. That will drown out the sound of the traffic outside, or like if your air conditioner turns on and off throughout the night, that can
Mm-hmm.
wake you up. If you have light sleep, that could be what's waking you up. It'll
Yeah.
drown out, the dogs that bark. So these things, make your bedroom a sanctuary. Respect, revere your sleep, and it will do your body great. It will do your brain great. You'll live longer
Yeah.
because the less sleep you get, it deteriorates the gray matter.
In your
You're going
brain.
to age faster. You're more likely to get dementia. We
Okay.
sleep for a reason. Respect it.
Mm-hmm. And even weight loss, from what I understand too, and stress
Mm-hmm.
hormones and
Yes.
whatnot. That people
Yes.
struggling with weight is due to a stress hormone, and yeah, and do you find that good sleep hygiene leads to good dreaming? Like for instance, I've noticed I'm currently in Colorado, high altitude. I just went to Mexico on a vacation. Crazy lucid dreams near the equator. It seems like the closer to the equator I get, the more I dream. The farther north I get, the
Mm.
less I dream, or the less I remember. I don't know. Maybe that my memory's intact. Have you noticed any sort of dream escalation or de-escalation based on location?
Yeah, location can absolutely affect the way you dream because, like, up in Colorado's thin altitude because you're up high. And
Yeah.
so, that's going to affect you. You're more likely to have headaches, nosebleeds, or dry nose, things that'll keep you up and not let you sleep well until you get
Mm-hmm.
used to it. So I'm sure people
Right.
that live in Denver sleep just fine eventually. But if you're visiting, and also if you go to a really hot area like New Mexico, you're not going to sleep as well when it's hot.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, where you are can definitely affect how you dream and how you sleep.
Mm.
You actually are going to remember your dreams better the worse your sleep is. Unfortunately, because you're going to wake up if you wake up a lot throughout the night, you're more likely to remember your dreams as opposed
Mm.
to if you have a good, deep, solid sleep, you're less likely to remember your dreams throughout the night. You're only going to remember that one you wake up from in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Now, another phenomenon that's happened, I don't know if you've had this yourself or had reports of it, but I seem to have this other world I go to all the time. This recurring theme where like skies are
Mm.
purple and I can fly and sparkles come out of my fingers, like weird, but it's a
Mhm.
recurring
Yes,
like
setting.
place. Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
not earthly. Do you feel that that is another dimension? Do you feel like that's a creation of my imagination? Why does it reoccur if that's the case? Because
yeah,
it seems to be we're very busy in that world, whatever's happening.
yeah. Yeah, I've been in worlds in my dream that just do not seem earthly at all. Like I feel like I've had dreams where I've like probably seen heaven, when
Oh.
there's music. It sounds like a beautiful boys choir and the water is musical and the colors, I mean, maybe we are, maybe, but the only thing I can say for sure is that the vast majority of our dreams are our own inner universe, our own
Mm-hmm.
inner world that the subconscious creates. And it can create things that you couldn't think of while you're awake, you know, worlds, people,
Yes.
pieces of music. We've had so many things in our world thanks to the dream world of others. For example, the search engine Google. We use that every day. I mean, think of what life is like now before Google. We have that because Larry Page dreamed it, literally, in his sleep.
I heard that. Yeah. You know
Yes.
about that story? Share it a little bit.
Okay, so Larry Page is one of the founders of Google.
Mm-hmm.
This was in the 90s. He was in his 20s and he woke up from this dream where he had been able to have the entire internet on his computer and everything was links, which
Huh.
is pretty much what Google is. And he was like, whoa. He ran down to his local coffee shop and started taking notes on napkins. And then he contacted his business partners and said, I've got this great idea. And not too long after that, Google came to be.
Fascinating. I mean, that sort of reminds me too. It feels like I was fed information of what to create in my career. And it took a while. And then, and it also kind of felt, I don't know how to describe it. It feels like a density in your head. I mean, in our industry, we call it a download. We feel like we're
Mm.
downloading from a higher source, but it
Mm-hmm.
comes in that wake sleep mode. And a lot of it has turned into actual business ideas for me as well.
Yes.
There's like a hyper create, and I'm always amazed at the colors and the sounds. Things seem to be
Mm.
sometimes more vivid than life.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I think the reason that is it's because you've turned off the outside world and you don't have any distractions. When you're awake and you're working on things, you're trying to make a painting or you're trying to write something, you're still distracted. You've got music on or someone's talking or the phone rings. There's always distraction and your mind will wander. So
Yeah.
there's always a distraction. Are you ever really fully, focused?
Yeah.
When you're dreaming, you are fully focused. There's
Yeah.
nothing to distract you. Your eyes are closed, TV's off, outside world has faded away. You've gone deep, deep inside. So you're you're laser focused. Your subconscious is working hard. You're possibly even tuning in and receiving from what's out there. Who knows? But for sure, the subconscious is, and it's interesting. Is it that you're downloading from out there, or is it was already there and you're bringing it out?
That's a good
Which
point.
is it?
I don't know, but I'm a freaking genius if that's the case.
Right on.
I'm super happy with it. I don't know if you've ever saw clips from Bashar. He's a psychic medium that does channeling on the internet. But he channels heaven, but he allegedly says that when you die, you actually wake up from a dream. That we're in heaven dreaming now.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. And I have a really good friend. She's a psychic medium. She says the same thing.
And when you
That,
so this
yeah,
is the dream
yeah.
right now. You and
This
I,
is the Matrix.
we're dreaming right now.
Yeah.
What about sleepwalking? Sometimes I find myself awake in front of the fridge and I don't know how I got there.
Oh, do
Um,
you? Really?
oh yeah, and then there's a trail back to the bedroom. Like the next morning, I'm like,
Oh,
what
so
the
you
hell was?
sleepy?
I do sleepy, yeah,
How
from
long has
time
that
to
been
time.
going on? That is so interesting.
Um, it actually went on the last 2 years, and then it's stopped again. So it kind of comes like in this wave, and
So
I'll have
has it only ever happened in the last 2 years, or is this like throughout your lifetime?
it happened when I first moved to Colorado, and then it happened again when I moved to Texas. So it seems like when I relocate or something like changes my environment, that's the only thing logical I can associate it to. I eat normally during the day. I'm not going to bed
Hmm.
stoned, so it's not munchies. Like it's,
Hmm.
because I'm possibly going to Colorado. That'd be a It's nothing like that. But I'll just find myself, and I remember as a kid, I would dream about candy. I want candy, and I'd be looking under my pillow for the candy. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a foodie tourist thing.
Huh. Do you have a history of sleepwalking?
No, I don't.
Anyone in
Mm-mm.
your family?
Um, my brother, we would find my brother like in the closet asleep.
Huh.
Like we'd be like, where the hell did
Interesting.
Mike go? And like the next morning,
Wow.
like, oh, he's sleeping in the closet. Like, how'd you get there? He's like, I don't know. You know, like we'd find him asleep in different parts of the house, so we
Really?
assumed he was
Okay.
sleepwalking. I mean,
Interesting.
how do you interpret sleepwalking?
Well, it is a parasomnia. So parasomnias are unusual sleep activity. So sleep eating is a parasomnia. Sleep talking, which is also called somniloquy, is a
Okay.
parasomnia. Do you have sleep talkers in your family?
I've dated sleep talkers. um, I don't know. I haven't slept with my family. I mean, I guess so a little bit, maybe some time to time, but I have dated, slept with sleep talkers who I was like,
Okay.
what do you? And I realized, oh, they're asleep, and they're talking to me in their sleep. They're having full on conversations. So I've
Yeah.
I've witnessed it, when
Okay.
that happens. Yeah.
What about anyone in your family history of like night terrors?
No, not really. We've had in our family, we're all pretty deep sleep snorers
Okay.
too.
Okay.
The whole house is rattling. Yeah.
Right. So just to clarify for your listeners, a night terror is not a nightmare. A night terror is when it's usually children wake up, well, they're not really awake, but they're like screaming, 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 and
Okay.
you can't wake them up, and it's a
Oh.
horrible experience. And it's usually just children. They usually grow out of it. Sometimes adults can get it, but
Mm-hmm.
so usually parasomnias like this are hereditary. So it'd be interesting to ask other people, cousins and, other people, if they do have sleepwalking or any other parasomnia that maybe you didn't know about. Um, Also, sleepwalking, sleep eating, these sort of parasomnias tend to present when we're going through stress.
Mm-hmm.
So moving can be stress. You don't have everything moved in. You got a lot of unpacking to do, a lot of, loose ends to tie up. You know, that could be why it's happening.
Mm-hmm. There was a time when I was going back and forth from California to Denver all the time, and I would wake up and not know where I was. Like, where am I? Not clear on where I was in the world or the country. It took me like a couple minutes to realize where I was in my life, where I was in the country. I've
Oh,
had
okay.
that.
So you didn't like wake up in someone's yard.
No, no, no. I'm just talking about a
Okay.
different phenomenon where I'd wake up confused about where am I?
Hmm.
Where am I life?
Yeah.
Where am I in my timeline? Like a confusion in that regard.
Yeah, yeah, I get that sometimes. Like what I suddenly realized, oh, I'm 51. I thought I was 18. Damn it.
Yeah, yeah. There's been that, or I've
Yeah.
woken up and I'm like thinking I'm married to the first wife,
Oh.
and laying to the next. Like, whoa, 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 whoa!
I
Like
hope you keep your mouth shut until you
I do.
realize.
I've
Okay.
learned. You will be sleeping on the couch, mofo. Yeah, I've learned that one the hard way. Yeah,
Oh, good.
you just keep those dreams. I've learned to just keep your dreams kind of private. Like they don't always have to be shared
Yeah. Right.
because sometimes
Right.
people take it a little personally, or they
Hmm.
overinterpret that direction. There's
Hmm.
always, of course, the flying dreams, right?
Hmm.
And I love flying dreams because in the dream I've always convinced, I finally remembered how to fly. Like in my dream, it's like a 1-2 jump, like there's like a thing to it.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
love flying and
Interesting.
whatnot.
Okay.
And it feels so real, of course, which
Hmm.
always baffles me too.
Yeah.
How real.
How can we know what it feels like when we've never actually flown?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Wind, weightlessness, gravity
Yes.
pulling me down. Just, it's
Hmm.
so incredible. It makes me think we actually are flying. Do you feel like do you believe in astral travel in the sense that we go out of body and we do that sort of thing in dream state?
Um, so here's the thing about me.
Okay.
I tend to be more pragmatic. I naturally just go to the practical and what can be explained. But there is this other part of me that's like, well, but how do you explain that? So I'm uh I'm one of those people who has my mind, my ideas in both worlds, although I lean more towards practical. So you mentioned astral travel. My mother used to claim that she could do that.
Your
Um,
mother?
my mother,
Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
she used to tell me that she would do that and that she would float around the house and watch us sleep. And that's not creepy at all, mother. Don't tell me that.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like most things have an explanation, like the sleep paralysis. It's not an alien. There is a physiological reason and explanation which science can prove.
Yeah.
So but I also, I do believe. like we talked about, that we can communicate with those that have passed on through the dream state. Because I think science can explain that. So I don't know. I'm still growing and learning. I don't
Sure.
have the answers to everything.
Well, and in fairness, I mean, astrology says that society has been asleep, actually, for thousands of years, and that in this lifetime we're just starting to wake up, which is the age of Aquarius. That's about 150 years away. But part of the age of Aquarius is that we become aware of these other dimensions that we have not had an explanation for. So, I feel it's fair. I feel, according to what I understand, it's just now something we're starting to really notice as a species, if that's the case.
That's okay. I have a question for you.
Okay.
So if this is happening and we are, and I do feel like we're becoming more awake because just in my practice, people are becoming more and more in tune to their dreams and giving them importance. Whereas before, when I first started back in the 90s, well, only Jesus can interpret your dreams, or dreams don't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely seen a huge shift in that regard. So
Yeah.
I do believe we are becoming more open and aware. So if that's happening on this global level, also globally, everything's going to shit.
Yeah.
So is that on purpose? I mean, why is it
As
happening at the same time?
apparently, well, we're becoming aware. So there's a lot of arguments to it. One, it's always been shit, and we never noticed. Like, as far as ideas of cabal and all these different ideas that might be happening, that they've always been happening underneath the seams, and that we just have been naive and had our heads down and not really had paid attention. Astrology does say like that we are at and a lot of cultures have the same sort of timelines to the Mayan cultures, that societies build up and they break down and they rebuild up
Yes.
again. And so
Right. Yes.
one thing that everyone seems to agree with is that we've come to the limit of this particular way of life, that it's gone, the way we print money is at a limit now as far as how far it can go. Power for power's sake, top down control. There's only so far you can push a given concept before you're out of bounds with what's organic and natural. And so pretty much everyone agrees like this system of top down sort of power and centralized power and one God and my God's better than your God, this sort of living has hit its limits. The astrology says that we've been asleep. The astrology says that that the human consciousness goes through awake and sleep sort of cycles in waking life, where you
Mm-hmm.
are aware of the extra dimensions and then you are not aware of the extra dimensions. And allegedly, the last time we were aware of the extra dimensions was 26,000 years ago, which was the last age of Aquarius, 26,000 years ago, the time of Atlantis and El Moria and all sorts of other alleged, places. So now I personally can say, I don't know if it's me growing or it's society, but I have become incredibly psychic and aware in the last decade, whereas before I had no awareness to it, hardly any. It was instinctual. And when I say psychic aware, I mean in readings, I'll say something and they'll be like, "That's exactly what happened." So the images that are coming to my mind are getting affirmed immediately by the client that that's exactly what happened. You're seeing it precisely how it happened. So a lot of immediate affirmation that I know that my third eye is opening up. I know that I'm
That's
becoming more
so
aware.
interesting what you're saying. Because
Do you get that with your clients too?
same thing has been happening to me. I feel like I've been doing this so long that I've just really reached a new level, being really, really good at this. But maybe that's part of it. Like like you just what you said. Is it that I'm just growing, or is there something going on? Because I mean, I have never been so in the last couple years been so in tune and accurate when I work on a dream with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yes.
never been more powerful than in the last couple years.
Me as well.
Huh.
And I was actively, paying attention for a living, you know.
Yeah.
So as I've been paying attention, I don't know if I think part of it too, I mean, the astrology also says that this is a very important lifetime in the sense that because we're waking up, we're the first thing we have, come awake to is our subconscious trauma. So there's a lot of theory that, since 2012 in particular, the astrology says we've been suddenly becoming aware of our subconscious trauma. So in other words, there's a lot of subconscious distraction that had to be sort of put to bed, full circle, playing out in dreams or playing out in reality where you keep remanifesting, being cheated on, you keep remanifesting, witnessing a violent accident, you keep, until you have settled that disruption going on in your subconscious. And as you heal these subconscious triggers, which I think Dream Life helps, you then become more acutely aware of psychic awareness because you're no longer distracted by your own, disruptions. So I think we're healing. That's what I'm getting at. Those who are proactive, those who are interpreting their dreams, those are coming into close with their issues. You're healing. And so you're less distracted by your own trauma. And then you're more conscious aware of picking up on others. But I'm at a point now where I was, psychic was a bad word when I started, and now I'm 100% psychic. There's no question about it. And for me, it's a feeling inside that you recognize. It kind of comes in through a certain conscious door. And so it wasn't so much about learning how to be psychic. It was about learning how to identify that voice versus the different voices going on inside of you. And once you can identify that voice, then
Mm.
you know if it's coming down that channel, it's most likely precognitive or something else, a sixth sense.
Does that voice sound like Donald Sutherland to you?
I can go there with you. Morgan Freeman is my voice. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, good choice.
It's a knowing, it's a feeling.
Mhm.
It's actually usually my voice talking to me, but
Mhm.
a different version of myself that uses the word we, which is before that pronoun was popular. I was saying we all the time and keeping it to myself because I was like, that sounds crazy. I'm not going to say it, but it's always we. And maybe it's a council. But
Maybe you're royal in past life.
yes, I do have that memory. Actually, and past life memories, and that's a good topic to bring with dreams.
Mm.
I am certain I've had past life dreams. I'm just absolutely certain. And the reason why I'm certain is because, in fact, I had this dream, this
Mm.
recurring dream where I was in a royal court. Now, mind you, I never studied royal courts. I didn't care at all about that in history or whatever. So the detail to the women and men's costumes and stuff, I went and researched it. It was this exact same as my dream.
Mm.
The palaces, the ornateness of the architecture, I went and researched it. It was exactly as my dream. So I was seeing into a world that I had not studied prior. And I kept, making jokes to this royal court. And I kept thinking, oh, I must have been a court jester in a past life or something. It's really funny. Until I had a series of psychic readings. And this is another thing that sort of affirms, and you have a psychic friend, a series of psychic readings. There's like, oh, you were a king in a past life. And I was like, oh, I was the king making jokes. That's
Which king do you know?
I have ideas. I mean, that's one of those things where it's like, yes, I have ideas, but in our business, you don't want to past life name drop. That's not cool.
Oh, got it, got it.
That's not cool to past life name drop in our
Very
business.
rude.
Well, it's just like everyone was Cleopatra, wasn't it? Like
Right,
everyone was
yep.
Jesus, like. But I'll say that in my research, it seems to be doing the research that this in fact is, and so it's either I'm tied into that line or whatnot. But
Mhm.
do you have you encountered past life dreams? Because I've noticed that a past life dream for me will have a bit of like a sepia kind of washed out color to
Mm.
it.
Mhm.
And that's how I distinguish past life dreams from actual dreams now, is that it'll come in this color form. It's not quite sepia. It's weird. It's like a dulled down. There's the colors are all dulled for some reason. Maybe that's just my mind going, this is past life,
Yeah.
just marking it and coloring it for me. I'm not sure. Have you encountered what you thought were past life dreams where you were in a different body or looked in the mirror and you were
Um,
someone else?
I have. Now in dream psychology, when you dream of like, for example, you had a dream that took place in the Civil War era.
Right. Very
Um,
common.
mhm. Now, in dream psychology, your subconscious would be using the era of the Civil War to communicate to you an issue about a war going on within the family.
Mm, interesting.
Yeah. So I've had a lot of clients come to me thinking, maybe that's what the dream meant, or maybe, dreaming they were like hiding in an attic in Nazi Germany, you
Mm,
know, but we're able to connect it to something going on right now in real life where you're feeling unfairly persecuted and there's something going on that you feel you have to hide, and so the subconscious equates it. So I'm not disclaiming past lives. I'm just saying a lot of times you can connect it, that the dream is using it to symbolize, to use this particular time period or this particular event in history to as a metaphor for something you're currently going through so you can better understand it.
Hmm. I see both. But usually anything in past history, for me, it just feels so real. That's the other aspect of it.
Hmm.
It feels like I am
Well,
there.
it sounds like with precognitive dreaming, there are several criteria that must be met. So I would imagine the exact same with if it's a past life memory as opposed to being a dream, there would be criteria that,
Hmm.
would need to be met.
And it sounds like we all have to sort of learn our own dream language
Yep. Hmm.
and start to understand, because I've had people tell me, "Oh, that means this," and my soul's like, "No, it doesn't." Like something
Yeah.
inside me just knows that's not it,
Hmm.
which is why I haven't tended to look outside myself very much. And this actually leads to your book. You have a book, Unlock Your Dreams, Change Your Life. It's dream on it. Unlock Your
Hmm.
Dreams, Change Your Life.
Yeah.
This is a good segue. What can we learn from your book?
Okay, so my book is like each chapter of the book is covers a different category of dreaming.
Oh,
So
cool.
there's a chapter on animal dreams, a chapter on nightmares, a chapter on sex dreams, a chapter on people dreams, a chapter on location dreams. Um, and so each category of dreaming is actually connected to a different part of your life or of yourself. So the animal chapter dream, while it covers, the types of animals we dream about and how to figure them out, it also shows you how to understand that the animal dream is showing you your behavior. So animal dreams are about your behavior.
Hmm.
The people dream chapter is showing you the different parts of your personality will show up in the
Hmm.
different forms of people.
Hmm.
The nightmare chapter is will show you how to understand your nightmares are actually connected to the most difficult issues in your life. So the different categories are about the different parts of you. And so I
Oh.
teach you how, to understand that. There's also a dream dictionary in the back for quick reference. And then the very last chapter is the 10 rules to remember when figuring out your dreams. So, for example, um, numbers and amounts in dreams are extremely important to pay attention to because it
Hmm.
will be connected to that exact same number or amount in real life. So, I was working with a client yesterday and someone gave her three chihuahuas.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, that is a very specific amount. So we need to figure that out. Um, Long story short, the amount of three we were able to connect to, she had had a baby years ago that died after 3 days.
Oh, wow.
So it will always be connected to something. So numbers and amounts are very important to pay attention to. So, you'll learn rules like that to apply when figuring out your dream.
That sounds great. It sounds like a great guide to become the master of your own interpretation.
Yes,
I love that you're
absolutely.
doing that, Lori. That's a great. But
Thank
you
you.
also have one-on-one sessions too, even
Hmm.
down to 15 minutes, which I thought is excellent, by the way, because I bet you could
Yeah.
get to you have a Chihuahua dream. How long can you really talk about that? So the fact that I can hire you for 15 minutes,
Hmm.
where do you think a person should begin working with you? Obviously, your website, which is lauriloewenberg.com. We'll put that up on the site.
Hmm.
What's the best way to work with you if someone wants to?
Yeah. So Lauri Loewenberg is the site, but Lauri Loewenberg is hard to spell. So if you just Google Dream Expert, I'm the first one that comes up. I think I'm 1, 2, and 3 that comes up. So that's
Oh,
how you
that's
can
good.
easily
Good for
find
you.
me. Thank you.
Larry Page helped you out after all.
Yeah, SEO baby. So yeah, so I offer 15-minute calls, 30-minute calls, and 45-minute calls, and we can do it over phone or also Zoom video. We can
Mhm.
see each other. So if you've got like, I have people come to me for all different reasons. Some
Okay.
people come with me because they have just one dream that's just sitting with them, and they just know there's something that the dream's trying to tell them. And
Yeah.
it absolutely is. And then I have people that are just really vivid dreamers and just have a million questions. And then I have a lot of recurring, clients because they're paying attention to their dream life and like getting really great answers and directions because of that.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe you have recurring dreams and you've always wondered about them. We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. When you figure it out, they usually don't come back.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
You get the message. Yeah.
You get the message. Or a lot of times a recurring dream is connected to a recurring behavior pattern that the subconscious is trying to bring to your attention. And then once you realize, oh, okay, it's because I never do speak up when I'm supposed to. That's why I keep dreaming that I'm trying to spit my teeth out. You fix that behavior that the dream was addressing. And then when you correct that behavior, there's no reason for the dream to come back because you fixed it.
Mm. And you bring up a great little maybe finale here is the teeth falling out dream.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is the teeth falling out dream? It's terrifying. It happens a lot. I'm
You
always,
get it a lot?
I've gotten it a lot. I would say it's one of the most recurring dreams I've ever had.
Okay. Well, you're in good company. A lot
Okay.
of people get it. The teeth, and there's actually a lot of different variations of the teeth dream. The teeth dream I get the most is that my teeth are splitting and crumbling into little
Yes.
pieces.
Yep. That's what mine
So
get. They're falling in they're falling into shards.
shards, yeah. Some people get where the tooth is just hanging by a vein.
Oh.
And some people, the teeth are just falling out and they're like, or you're trying to hold the teeth in, or sometimes, the tooth is loose and you have to like pull it out because you know it needs to come out. So there's like all kinds of different versions of the teeth dream. And it's
Mm.
so common because it's connected to a really common behavior issue, which is communication. So
Mm.
teeth dreams are most often connected to the way you're communicating. If your teeth are coming out, that's usually connected to loose speech. You don't have a filter. You say things without thinking about it. You allow things out of your mouth before, you thought about it. The crumbling teeth, like you and I get, that's usually connected to weak speech. Things crumble when you're
Mm.
weak. So maybe you don't feel like you made your point strong enough. You didn't hold
Mm.
up your end of an argument well enough. You didn't make something clear. You didn't even speak up. So that's the
Mm.
crumbling teeth. The one where you like have to pull the tooth out. That's because there's something that you really need to speak up about in your that can also be connected to like the gum dream. Have you had that one where you have like so much gum in your mouth and you can't get the gum out and it's all stuck to your teeth?
Oh no, but I
Okay.
probably will now, Lori. Thanks.
Kathy Lee Gifford gets that one a lot.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yes. So that is also connected to needing to get something out, say something, but you're concerned about saying it because you know it's a sticky situation, hence the gum.
Oh, interesting. I
Mhm.
think, especially with I have throat clearing issues, it's that, especially now being an influencer, you can't say everything your heart wants to say because you're going to piss
Right.
somebody off. So
Oh yeah.
I'm always holding back a lot of my own personal opinions. And I think maybe that's why my teeth are falling out. So see people, my teeth are falling out, but I don't want to disrupt. I want to, toe that line. But yeah,
Right. Yeah.
interesting. Well, Lori, you are such a pleasure.
Thank you.
I'm convinced you have a Leo rising. I was saying that backstage because you have fabulous hair. And
Mhm.
I'd love for you to come back sometime and talk with us. Maybe we
Sure.
can talk about, something on a wormhole level of dreaming in society.
Mhm.
Everyone, we have her website up here on the screen. She also has a YouTube, Lori the Dream Expert. So if you want to check out some videos, I've seen some there on there as well. And she's got a blog on her website too, with a lot of interesting topics and things to read up. So there's a lot to offer, but I recommend her book. It sounds like that would be the best way to start. I'm assuming on Amazon and anywhere books are sold.
Yes, it's available everywhere and all my social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, it's all Laurie the Dream Expert.
I love it. Easy to spell. Well,
Mhm.
thank you, Lori. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. This is fun.
This was fun. Wonderful. Wasn't she just wonderful and delightful and full of great information? We had a great time too. Step 16 Aries, really energetically, a lot of compatible ideas, and she's going places too. I can't say right now what it is, but she has got a lot of attention on her work right now. So look for Lori, check out her website. You can get a 15-minute consultation with her. Very affordable also, I found, in that regard. And I feel like her book, I'm gonna have to get her book because I feel like her book is a very practical guide for being able to interpret on our own, which I think is the whole guide, right? Is to do that, is to be able to interpret on our own. I'm grateful to Lori. Thank you for coming, Lori. We hope to have her again sometime in the future. And we are so grateful for you. I have a lot to promote tonight, so much to promote tonight. If you're enjoying this show and what Namaste Today has to offer, we have so much more for you if you want to dive deep and get real serious about your joy. The first is, of course, the seriousjoy.cloud. Seriousjoy.cloud is a new a la carte way to purchase mega monthlies. These are downloadable 25-minute audio files that go into your sun sign, your rising sign. There's a mega monthly golden address where I give the whole month, and then I do a chart reading at the end of someone to sort of look at how to manifest better. The whole reason why they're golden megas now is because I'm focusing all my attention this year on manifestation. And we have a special discount code. Basically, Mega 2024 is the discount code for the first 200 people. You can get 33% off. Of course, that's a magic number, 33%. Go there, download, and give it a try. And have one on us. Basically, I'm interested to hear what people who haven't experienced my megascopes, what you feel about them. I put a lot of work into them. That's at seriousjoy.cloud, and that's going to be ongoing. Also, I'll just put out there at senseiChristopher.com. Now, I don't know if Sarah has a graphic ready for this one because I'm throwing it in here at the last moment. Sorry, Sarah. At senseiChristopher.com, I have a Trailblazing 2024 webinar tomorrow that is going to go live at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. This Trailblazing 2024 is going to give a strategy for how to manifest this year. So I'm going to give away a formula. Well, not giveaway, you have to pay for it. But I'm going to give the formula for how to manifest the most out of this year. And when I say the most out of this year, I'm talking about key dates. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing these trailblazing. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Great job. I'm going to be doing these trailblazing webinars for the rest of the year, pretty much, where I check in and give little soul assignments between the dates. So I'm basically holding your hand energetically as we manifest together through this year. So if you want to be a part of it, it's very affordable. SenseiChristopher.com. Trailblazing 2024. I'll be live tomorrow. I do take questions. It's going to be a blast. I'm so excited too, because it's so nice to be with people who are really serious about manifesting, because we can really test this magic and go farther. Now, speaking of magic, there's always seriousjoy.com. Seriousjoy.com is a personal sensei and coaching service, and we have the 40 days of past life and karma going live on Monday, February 19th. This is a profound program. I'm very excited about this because I've been doing readings for over 20 years. I mean, I've been doing them professionally for about, over 20 years. And I've become really good at seeing the past life in the chart. So this program is just packed full of great things. For one, we're going to do past life journal prompts. So there'll be some prompts about what to journal about, putting together the themes. But the most exciting are chart explorations of the karmic planets and ciphers. I'm going to give away, or sell, I should say, my secret sauce for how I see past lives in charts. We also are going to have special features, 12 features from Robbie Hunt, giving different lectures on karma, past lives, reincarnation, going deep on the metaphysics of reincarnation. We're also going to have Angel Connection series with Devin Doer. So Devin is going to teach you how to identify your angel, how to connect to your angel, how to ask questions from your angel, and how to walk away with a guardian angel. We're going to have a dodecahedron activation with Kristen Ryder. So Kristen Ryder is going to walk us through a sound sacred geometry model that will allow you to integrate all of your past lives into a super life. I know, pretty crazy, huh? We're going to have karma release and karma boosting and character identifying lunar ceremonies with Joe Zammit. And we'll have all the other features that happen as well. So you will walk away in 40 days more clear about your past lives than you've ever been. And the reason why this is important is because so many of the weird, bizarre things that happen in our life that we don't understand, we feel like we are getting the raw and the stick, or we feel like, life's against us, or we wonder why we have failed certain times. I'll tell you, it's mostly because you had to re-experience it in this life so that your soul could let it go. So most of our bad luck is not bad luck. This is going to be a very deep and helpful program. By the way, it's just $3.99 if you've never been a subscriber, then $19.95 after. We will have 6 live events on Wednesdays with our practitioners allowing our subscribers to come on camera in a couple of cases as well. 6 live events that will support all of these features through that six weeks. So you are going to be completely supported over 40 days. It's great. If you haven't tried out Serious Joy yet, let me tell you, I know of no other service like ours where we know the knowledge of your chart and we give you daily coaching and daily assistance. And here's the thing. Most of us do not spend time working on our spirituality. You subscribe to Serious Joy, we carry you day by day through the ascension process. That's at seriousjoy.com. And we have other features as well that you should know about. For instance, Joe Zaman is releasing a ceremony video to prep for the next full moon in Pisces. That comes out this Thursday or Friday. We just had Angel Intervention go live with Devin Doer and Heather Exposito. This is a monthly show where Devin and Heather do like a tag team reading for people who are stuck. That show is live. Just click on the Soul Support Group in the main lobby to watch that show. And this week, going live on Wednesday, on Valentine's Day, we're going to hold a live orientation Zoom meeting for the 40 days of past life and karma. So if you sign up now, you can be in the orientation meeting with us on camera in a Zoom call. Guest starring in this meeting will be Joe Zammit from Australia. Our first time we're going to talk live with her. And Kristen Ryder is talking about her dodecahedron activation. And we'll be live answering questions and really walking people through how the program is going to be. So this is our most supported, most thought through, the deepest program we've ever done. And again, if you're a first-time subscriber, just $3.99, then $19.95 after. For the 40 days of past lives and karma, you're talking about spending $25 for 40 days of complete development. This is really us being extremely generous because we want to see the world evolve. Thank you for listening. SeriousJoy.com. Now, sharing is caring. The greatest thing you can do. It's good karma. Let me tell you, it's good karma to share us with your friends and family. Don't forget, we have those horoscopes that go live every Tuesday. Share the Taurus horoscope with your honey that's a Taurus. Share a horoscope for someone that's a little stuck in their life. It's 3-minute video, and then they'll see right away that we know what we're talking about. We do appreciate that. Some people like to donate directly to us and to me. Yes, I gladly accept tips. I'm modest and humble. It's paypal.me/Sensei Christopher if you want a tip. We do have a great Facebook club at seriousjoy.club. This is an active club. We're always posting. All of our super friends tend to show up there. We have a human design, a study group that's now expanding new topics. We do inspiring architecture posts. We do live readings. I'm always posting my own stuff going on in my life in this club. So you'll notice in all my profiles, I don't post personal pictures of myself. I only do it in the Serious Joy Club because it's behind closed doors. Come on down to seriousjoy.club. We appreciate you. If you want to follow me on any of my social media or any of the company's social media, go to seriousjoy.social for our linked tree. And if you'd rather listen instead of watch, which many people do, we are in audio form on Spotify, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. I want to do a very special thanks to our producer, Noel Way, our director, Sarah Lyman, very thankful for you, our teaching staff, Robbie Hunt, Kristen Ryder, Devin Doer, Joe Zaman, and Heather Exposito. We also want to say special thanks to our super friends out there, Jill Louise, Christine Kelly, Lori Ship, Nikki Anderson, Libran Lauren, Experimental Elemental, Erica with a K, Michelle Camper and Michelle Bell, my soul brother, Daryl Blankenship, Margot Malia, always doing the music. I saw your post tonight. Neptune Girl, Jamar, it's been so nice to see you, and the amazing Iggy, who helps us out every week. I also want to say a special thanks to Joyce Sweeney, the director of our SeriousJoy.club. And with that, I am off the air for this week, my friends. I'll be back 1 week from tonight with Step 27, where you're going to launch this new reality. Until then, I love you. Live, love, be.